Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys.
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it. Husband.
Wife.
Do you know where we are today?
We are starting a new goddamn book.
We sure as fuck are.
And what book is it?
Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes.
Right?
That's another book.
It's another book.
And we've actually had some people tell us, Polly, that they really are looking forward to this, among other people.
Actually, Brady also
is looking forward to this, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had some people reach out specifically that are very excited about this book, which makes me even a little bit excited about this book.
Okay, but just to temper your enthusiasm,
okay.
I've also been told, but you'll still hate it, though. Even though it's my favorite, you'll still hate it.
Got it.
So
okay.
I think it has to do with maybe religious upbringing or something.
Sure.
Has made it near and dear to their heart and less hateful than the rest. But still,
right. We'll find out in our own little way
well,
how much we hate or love this book.
Brady specifically said, "Oh no, you'll still not like it though."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
well, good to know. All right.
Yeah.
So that means that today we are going to be reading
Chapter 1 of Ecclesiastes.
All right. You ready to hop into this?
I sure as fuck am.
Let's do it.
Okie dokie. Okay, before we read chapter 1 of Ecclesiastes, a couple notes.
Couple.
All
right.
Okay. One is that I'm going to tell us just a little bit about the book, like who the author is.
Okay.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
The second thing is, I think we're going to go back to previous format, what we were doing prior to Proverbs and Psalms.
Yeah.
Which is that we would read the chapter and say, oh, what's that about? And then make a note of it. And then on Saturday, do a Q&A about anything we had questions about.
Okay. So we'll be doing our weekly Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
sounds good.
I just, I'll come into this a little less prepared than I did with Proverbs and Psalms.
Which is how we kind of prefer to do it because, honestly, we both want to be learning things as we learn them.
Yeah.
So,
reacting in the moment as opposed to me informing you of a thing.
Right. But it just wasn't relevant. It wasn't easy to do with the format in Psalms and Proverbs.
We're just having to kind of learn our format as we go and be flexible to the demands of the material.
So we're back to a weekly Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if
Fair
that's
enough.
okay with you.
I mean, that's fine with me.
Okay, I kind of sprung this on you, mid-recording. Is that okay?
It's fine. That's how we do things, you know?
Yeah, I know.
All right.
I was thinking this earlier, and I was like, I'm not going to tell him. All right?
Yep.
So, Ecclesiastes, an unnamed author introduces the words of Kohelet, son of David, king in Jerusalem.
Okay.
Okay, so
right.
Kohelet is supposedly the author here.
Right.
He does not use his own voice again until the final verses. Okay, so the opening verses of the first chapter, he's going to introduce these are the words of Kohelet.
Right.
And then the very last chapter, which I think there's only 12 chapters in this book.
Sure.
At the end of that last chapter, we'll hear from him again, saying, those were my words, I guess.
Got it. Okay. All right.
I'm guessing that's how that works.
Sure.
Okay. And he's going to give his own thoughts at that point at the end and summarize the statements of Kohelet. The main body of the text is ascribed to Kohelet himself.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
According to rabbinic tradition, the book was written by King Solomon in his own age.
Oh.
So Kohelet is telling the story saying, he starts off at the beginning saying, I'm Kohelet and I'm telling you this story.
Right.
According to King Solomon. My daddo.
I thought it was King David.
That's what I said. Oh, no, you're right. My mistake. Where did David come in? So, Kohelet is the son of David. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, supposedly, Solomon wrote this whole thing, which doesn't make any fucking sense, but whatever.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter who actually wrote it or who says they wrote it, because they're all lying. The story is a lie.
Got it.
Okay, because the presence of Persian and Aramaic terms point to a date no earlier than about 450 BCE, and Solomon reigned between 970 and 931 BCE.
Got it.
So we're talking like 500 years later is when it was actually written. Okay.
All right. Sounds.
The latest possible date for its composition could have been even as late as 180 BC.
You know, it seems to me that there's a lot of stuff written in that 400 to 500 BCE period, because that's when they were coming back or going into exile type time frame.
Yeah.
And that's when a lot of these, like, let's rally around our religion type things were happening.
That's exactly why all of this material came out during that time period.
Right.
Because they were they were coming out of the Babylonian exile.
Right, right.
So,
and they were trying to rally around their religion and their God. So
yeah. And I mean, they did a pretty good job. They put their religion back together, and then it lasted.
Right.
All the way up and through today.
Yeah.
So not a bad job.
Right.
Ecclesiastes is a phonetic transliteration of the Greek word for the Hebrew name of its stated author, Kohelet. So Ecclesiastes is Kohelet.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So that's why that's where the name comes from. That's why that book has that name. And I thought that would be good to know before we go in, that that's what that word means.
Sure. Good to
Commentators struggle to explain why a man was given an apparently feminine name, because the name Kohelet, in that early Greek and Hebrew, or that Greek translation, had the noun. It was a feminine noun.
Okay.
So they're like,
so it was very odd that.
Yeah, like, why was that dude given a feminine name? And then I'm like, why are we assuming it was a dude?
Right. Yeah.
But that never came up, like, in any of the notes that I read. Like, nobody said, maybe it wasn't a guy.
Because it couldn't possibly be a woman.
Yeah.
Right?
But apparently it was a guy, for surezies.
But maybe not.
With a feminine name.
Right.
And nobody knows why.
But maybe not. Because if it was written in 500 BCE or around that time frame, then no one really knows for sure.
Right.
Like, these are based on probably some sort of story that was told over hundreds of years.
Right.
So,
but we have people today saying, why did that? And I'm like, why the question?
But I find that in religion, there's a lot of questions that they leave not answered because they don't want to know the answers to them. So,
it's
like,
true.
it might be one of those things where it's like, well, maybe it was a woman. We just don't know for sure.
I just found it odd that not anybody put forth the idea that maybe it was a girl.
Right.
Weird. One theory accepted by a wide variety of modern scholars, however, to knock me off of my little soapbox, is that he ascribed this activity to his wisdom, because wisdom is female, capital W.
Okay.
That's why he used a feminine name.
Got it.
And I'm like, okay.
All right.
That's what the scholars of today say. The modern scholars.
I guess, whatever.
It's a valid argument.
Maybe.
I still question it, but okay, whatever you say, guys.
Sure.
So, okay, now we're going to jump into the actual chapter 1 of Kohelet, which is Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Okay?
Yep.
The words of the teacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. That sounds like me every day when I wake up, right? This all sucks. Why bother?
Right, yeah.
What do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun?
I think that's a question we ask every day of our lives, right?
Like, why bother?
Why do I keep doing the shit I'm doing? Because,
everything's stupid.
Where am I getting with all this?
Yeah. Like, I'm just pushing a rock up a hill.
Right? Yeah, I mean, that's I think a lot of people feel that way in life, because it does. I mean, you're fighting against a lot of things that are outside of your control.
Yeah, and it just feels pointless.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's no way around that. You can't change the government you live under. You can't change, how life works.
Right.
So you're kind of stuck in the model of government that you live under, and that's where we're at. So.
Yeah. I find that interesting. That that's the way it starts. Generations come and generations go, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun sets and hurries back to where it rises. The wind blows to the south and turns to the north. Round and round it goes, ever returning on its course. All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place, I like that.
Yeah. No, this
is everything's pointless.
Well, I mean, no, this is very poetic, actually.
No, I know, I like it.
Yeah.
I like depressing poetry.
Right.
Yeah. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. All things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear its fill of hearing. What has been done will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. I didn't know that's where that phrase came from.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
Is there anything of which one can say, look, this is something new? It was here already long ago. It was here before our time. No one remembers the former generations, and even those yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow them.
Wow. Whoa. What a dark passage.
Right?
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the first section.
I mean, I like it. It was really well written.
It was.
Mean, for the Bible. Like, this is really well written for the Bible.
Yeah. I'm enjoying this thus far.
Yeah.
So that was the intro. Now we're getting into the meat of this chapter. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
I, the teacher, was king over Israel and Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study and to explore by wisdom all that is done under the heavens. What a heavy burden God has laid on mankind. I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. What is crooked cannot be straightened. What is lacking cannot be counted. I said to myself, I says, look, I have increased in wisdom more than anyone who has ruled over Jerusalem before me. I have experienced much of wisdom and knowledge. Mm-hmm. Right? Because that's Solomon supposedly saying that.
Right.
Then I applied myself to the understanding of wisdom and also of madness and folly, but I learned that this too is a chasing after the wind. For with much wisdom comes much sorrow. The more knowledge, the more grief. The end.
This is not the best. I mean, so far,
right?
This is not the best picture for God,
right?
Like they're like it's all pointless and meaningless, and
why even bother?
I mean, that's exactly what it's saying, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's all the first opening is meaningless, you know, mm-hmm. and then just nothing good is happening in this person's passages here.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
It's kind of shocking.
It really is. I wasn't expecting to hear. I don't even know really how to react to this because I'm expecting like God shit, you know? Mm-hmm. And they only mentioned God like once in that whole passage, and it was just as a passing thought, kind of.
Like God give us things, but it's all the same.
In the void that is, you know, no meaning.
Right.
So.
Right.
It's very cool.
It is very cool.
So far.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure this will tie back somehow to
I definitely
to
like chapter 1, though.
Yeah, no, I really like it. I mean,
it almost sounds Shakespearean, right?
Right, yeah, like there's very quotable shit from it, and like I liked it. That was beautiful in a dark way, but yeah, I'm a fan of that chapter.
Same.
So yeah,
same.
I don't know what else to say.
This one's right up there with we liked the whole book of Esther.
Yeah.
And now we like chapter 1 of Ecclesiastes.
So far, yeah, I'm down with Ecclesiastes. So. Yeah.
Did you have any questions that we want to mark down?
I think so. I mean, I wrote a note in here to look up, just like if I can find it. You know, I'll do my Google searching just to see if is it Kohelet or how do you say
Kohelet?
Kohelet.
It's Kohelet, son of David.
All right. I want to look up if they might be a woman. If there's any words out there that say that, just something that I would like to follow up with. So.
Yeah.
I noted that down as something that we could go over. So,
okay.
Other than that, I don't really have any questions. It was pretty straightforward, very dark, very
everything sucks.
Interesting. Yeah. So,
and it does.
All right. Well, that was the first chapter of Ecclesiastes.
Sure as fuck was.
And we'll be back tomorrow with
Ecclesiastes chapter 2.
We'll see you then.
Yep. Bye. Husband!
Wife!
Do you know where we are today?
Well, we are in the second chapter of Ecclesiastes, I believe.
We sure as fuck are.
Yeah. And yesterday I was kind of at a loss as to what to say because it was so cool. The wording and the phrasing that they used. And, it was really a beautiful chapter.
Darkly beautiful.
Darkly beautiful. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of excited about what today will bring, I guess.
I am as well.
And so what are we getting into today?
Chapter 2 of Ecclesiastes.
All right, let's go do this.
Okie dokie. All right, let's get into Ecclesiastes Chapter 2.
Okay.
I said to myself,
You says to yourself, huh?
I says to myself, I said, come now, I will test you with pleasure to find out what is good.
Okay.
But that also proved to be meaningless.
Wow.
Gemini, somebody needs
this guy's needs some,
he needs some Xannies.
Yeah, definitely. Wellbutrin, maybe.
Wellbutrin.
I don't know. Something like that. Lexapro, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Laughter, I said, is madness. And what does pleasure accomplish?
I mean...
He's so depressed.
Right? Yeah, this person is very depressed.
Maybe, okay. Playing off of, remember, Kohelet is a female name.
Right.
But he is the son of David. Maybe we've got a trans person on our hands who is going through gender dysphoria. And so they're upset.
I would not have thought of that. But yeah, that could be very much the case.
I'm stuck on, I have a female name. Why? And everybody's like, maybe because.
Right. But that's actually that's an interesting theory.
Right?
I mean, it's not backed up by anything at
all.
But
it purely speculation straight from the depths of my dumb head.
Yeah. But I mean, that's interesting.
Right?
This person is very depressed.
Very depressed.
So.
Right?
Yeah.
I tried cheering myself with wine and embracing folly. My mind still guiding me with wisdom. I wanted not capital W wisdom.
Got it.
He was not with her.
Right.
Just
wisdom.
Just some wisdom.
Just the wisdom.
Generic wisdom.
Got it. Not capital W wisdom. Right. Yeah.
I wanted to see what was good for people to do under the heavens during the few days of our lives.
Damn, this is very morose.
It is. It is. Quite macabre.
Yeah.
I undertook great projects. I built houses for myself and planted vineyards. I made gardens and parks and planted all kinds of fruit trees in them.
Sounds like they did a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's good.
I made reservoirs to water groves of flourishing trees. I bought male and female slaves. As you do.
I don't approve of that.
No. Bad choice. Yeah. And had other slaves who were born in my house.
Still don't approve of that.
Not cool.
Not okay with that.
I understand it was the time.
I don't think that was a wise move.
No.
Personally speaking.
But I do get that you're trying different things to try to cheer yourself up.
Right.
Did you try scrapbooking?
I mean, I don't. I feel like. I don't know. Like, they've done a lot of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess part of, there's all these self-help books now, right? Part of it is, like, finding your own happiness. Like, did any of these things strike you as making, like, did they make you happy? Or
are you trying different things?
I
feel like
we're coming to a point where they're going to say, but the only thing that was missing was God.
Oh, no. I didn't see that coming. Oh, no. You're probably right.
But I'm like, no, but these other things are really cool. And maybe you just didn't choose them. But, I mean, definitely the slaves was bad.
The slaves was bad.
Yeah.
But the building and the nature.
But maybe that wasn't who they were. Maybe they were doing these things because people told them to do them.
Right.
Maybe they were more of a
hammer and nails kind of guy.
Yeah, who knows?
Or maybe
they like to etch in stone or something.
Maybe they needed to go buy some new clothes.
Yeah.
And get a haircut and get their nails did.
Right.
Maybe they needed to try painting instead of building.
Right. Maybe wine wasn't the thing. Maybe it was more like beer, ale, whatever it was back then.
Maybe they needed to try cooking.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like some people
maybe they just didn't do the right things. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe they needed to play chess. And I'm saying that as somebody who hates chess. Maybe they needed to try chess.
Yeah. Okay? You never know.
I also owned more herds and flocks than anyone in Jerusalem before me. I amassed silver and gold for myself and the treasure of kings and provinces. I acquired male and female singers.
Singers?
Yeah, I bought me some slaves that could sing.
Oh. Okay.
And a harem as well.
Wow, a harem.
He bought a harem.
Jesus Christ.
So this guy is drinking, he's building, he owns all the animals, he's rich as fuck, he's having all the sex, doing all the drugs.
Right.
the delights of a man's heart. So
I mean, the delights of what men say is the delights of their hearts.
Right.
Again,
right.
You maybe haven't tried the right things or in the right way.
I
don't know.
I'm still going to put out there that maybe you're transgender and you need to get right with yourself. I
think that's highly plausible based on what we're reading here.
Right?
Yeah.
Because all of these things are the delights of a man's heart. Maybe you don't have the heart of a man.
Yeah, right.
Which is okay.
It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I became greater by far than anyone in Jerusalem before me. In all this, my wisdom stayed with me. I denied myself nothing my eyes desired. My eyes, but not my heart.
Right.
I refused my heart no pleasure. Oh,
there's the heart, I guess.
Okay. My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for all my toil. So you were happy, yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, sigh, everything was meaningless. A chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun.
But was it not? I don't feel like it's meaningless. It's meaningless if it has no meaning to you. If it had meaning to you, then it isn't meaningless.
But I think that's the point. He's going through the motions.
Right, and you're chasing meaning in a harem? That's not meaning.
I think that's his
sex.
Point. That's his point.
But meaning would be having a relationship with somebody or a friendship with somebody or like the things that they're chasing are not...
They're surface. They're not
they're very surface.
But I think that's his point, though. He's saying, I did all of these surface things, and I still was not finding happy. I was doing everything expected of me, and I still wasn't happy. I was rich and powerful, and I did everything I was supposed to do, hypothetically, and nothing brought me joy because there was nothing deep in any of it.
Well, if you weren't joyful, I feel like you weren't as wise as you thought you were.
There it is. It is, right there. Boom.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, that's not... It has nothing to do with the actions. It has to do with what you perceive. You perceive these to be the correct things.
Right.
Obviously, they weren't.
Right. I mean, everybody keeps telling me, if you would just love chess, you would, just try it. You'll love it. And I have tried it, and I don't love it.
Right.
And if I put my head to chess, I would be miserable all the fucking time.
Right.
If I memorized like all the opening moves or whatever and en passant thing, whatever the fuck it's called, like all the goddamn stupid vocabulary.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if I learned all that shit, right? And let's say I became pretty good at it. I don't see that happening, but let's just pretend for a second.
Yeah.
I would still be miserable.
Well, then we could try Magic the Gathering.
I don't want to play that either. Look, I just want to play Parcheesi and be done.
Okay.
Like, I don't need all that.
Got it. Yeah.
All right. Then I turned my thoughts to consider wisdom and also madness and folly. What more can the king's successor do than what has already been done? I saw that wisdom is better than folly, just as light is better than darkness. The wise have eyes in their heads, while the fool walks in the darkness. But I came to realize that the same fate overtakes them both. Everybody dies in the end.
That's true, yeah. And I've often thought, in passing, how blissful it could be to be the ignorant fool, like you don't see all the shit. You don't see all the crap that's happening, right?
To be shallow.
Right. And you're not bothered by, climate change. You're not bothered by the politics going on. You're not bothered by anything except for what's in front of you. Right. I've thought that often that would be...
Lord, take this sight from my eyes.
I don't want that, though. What I want is for my actions to be meaningful in some sense, to do something to affect the change in some small way towards those things that I see that are injustices or that are wrong.
Right.
And that's what I endeavor to do with my life.
Because once you see it, then you're responsible for it.
Right. But I do think that moving in that direction and fixing those things is rewarding. Mm-hmm. I see that as rewarding.
Sure.
So.
Then I said to myself, I said, the fate of the fool will overtake me also. What then do I gain by being wise? This guy's so depressed.
It really is, yeah.
I'm sorry for him.
Yeah.
I said to myself, this too is meaningless. God damn it.
Does he say God damn it?
He doesn't.
Oh, okay, damn it.
But it sounded right, though.
Right, yeah.
It was right in line with it.
Right, yeah.
For the wise, like the fool, will not be long remembered. That is true.
Right.
The days have already come when both have been forgotten. Yeah.
Well, but many people say that this was written by Solomon, possibly, Solomon has not been long forgotten.
That is true.
I'm just saying, if it was Solomon...
But nobody knows that Ecclesiastes slash Koholeth guy.
Right.
Girl.
But yeah,
guy.
we don't really know who wrote this, but some people say that maybe it was Solomon. And if it was Solomon, most people know who Solomon is. Yeah. Or at least have heard of Solomon.
Have heard the name.
Right.
Like the fool, though, the wise too must die. Yeah.
It's true. We've covered that in other chapters. Mm-hmm. Like, well, it doesn't really matter. Y'all die. We all die.
Everybody dies someday.
But I do feel like this is a mental health issue more so than it is an actions
this
thing.
This is like an emergency. Like if somebody wrote this down in their diary and you were like flipping through, I'd
be very worried.
Wouldn't you come and be like, look, okay, bad me. I was reading your diary.
Yeah, right.
Like we'll address that in just a second. Sure. Yeah, I'm an asshole.
First of all, just let me say, it's very beautiful. What she wrote is very beautiful.
It's very I think we should pursue some writing.
Yeah.
Because that could be the key to what you're looking for.
Seems to be, you're very good at it, so.
But also, should I call 911? Do you have guns that I need to take away for a while?
Yes, yeah, that might be a question you would want to ask, yeah. Because they don't seem very
I'm going to take all the sharp objects away for a while. And I'm not joking.
Right.
This is not me being funny.
Yeah.
This is
it's very dark. It's very dark.
Yeah.
It does not. I mean, again, unless this is lending towards an eventual.
And then I found
God. It doesn't lend towards, God very well.
No, it really doesn't.
So I'm just saying it's odd.
It is. So I hated life. It continues.
Yeah.
Because the work that is done under the sun was grievous to me. He hated life because he hated work.
Got it.
All of it is meaning. Well, it says he hated all that is done under the sun. Maybe he had an allergy to the sun.
Could be.
There are some people, seriously, that have photo whatever. I forget what it's called.
Right.
But it's I have a mild allergy to the sun. Actually,
sure.
It causes my eyes to water and I get real tingly.
Well, and again, if we're talking about a trans person here back then, they would have had to wear extra clothing to keep themselves, not seen for their gender. They're, not.
They would have had to dress opposite of how they wanted to.
They would have been hotter in the sun than other people would have been because they would have had to conceal what they were.
Well, I mean, this is a king talking, so it would have been a guy dressing as a king, right?
Right.
Not.
Well, they didn't say no. They said it's the son of a king. It hasn't said specifically that it is a king.
Oh yeah. It was son of the king of David.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. All of it is meaningless. A chasing after the wind. I love that they keep repeating. You're chasing after the wind.
Right.
That is just such a cool phrase.
Yeah. No, and at some level, it's very true. It's just you have to find the joy in your life. With those. Regardless of whether you're chasing after the wind, you still are affecting something that does transcend you. So.
Right. Something outside yourself that's greater than.
And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be remembered, but I mean, that's not the important bit.
Right.
The important bit is that you feel good about what you're doing.
Yeah. I hated all the things I had toiled for under the sun because I must leave them to the one who comes after me. And who knows whether that person will be wise or foolish. Yet they will have control over all the fruit of my toil, into which I have poured my effort and skill under the sun. And this, too, is meaningless.
I don't understand that thought.
I don't either.
Because to me, I already have reconciled the fact that I'm going to die and that's it, right? And I don't really have a need to... I don't care what happens to my toys after I die. You know? I mean, I want them to go to somebody that I love. Beyond that, what they do with them is not of my concern. Well,
and if you are a follower of God, nor should it be, because that's an earthly concern, and you will be hypothetically in heaven, and those things won't matter to you.
Right.
So they shouldn't matter to you now.
But the worth of what I do, I have always found in the moment in my lifetime. It's something that I care about. Like, I care about how I treat others in my life. I care about how others view me in my life. I care about actions that I take and things that I say. These are the things that I worry about. I don't care so much. I mean, I've got a shitty ass computer that we do our podcast on. I've got desks that are in disrepair. I've got, a car that's in disrepair. And, you know, I don't give a shit about my things. I give a shit about how I treat others and how they perceive that I treat them.
Right. Right.
That's the biggest wins I have in my life.
I mean, I've always said with regards to my relationship with you and our family, I could live in a cardboard box as long as we're together, because home is what you make it and where you are. And
to an extent, that's true.
That's a little bit hyperbolic, I will grant you, and easy to say, given that we do have a roof over our head.
Right.
And probably insulting to those who are unhoused. But that's something I've always said before I had better language for it.
Sure.
Which is that...
I think the sentiment is that, you know, you only need the people that you care about is what you really truly need in your life.
Yeah.
And, you know, whatever it takes to make that a successful relationship with those other people is what you want to strive to do.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you want to have shelter. You want to have things that are important to have. But it's the people around you and your interactions in your day-to-day life that really make a difference to you and to others. So
right. I think
not the things that you acquire.
I think I meant I don't need a mansion or a yacht.
Correct.
Correct. Don't need material things. I need to feel that I am with the people who love me and that I love.
Right.
And that we are working together on a shared plan for the future or whatever.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Definitely.
So my heart began to despair over all my toilsome labor under the sun. For a person may labor with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, and then they must leave all they own to another who has not toiled for it. That's
not necessarily true, but I mean, you don't have to leave it to anybody. You could give it to whoever you want to.
Okay, but according to the laws back then
sure.
It would have gone to their oldest son or whatever.
I guess.
And he's like, that sucks. I'm like, do you not like your kids?
then I was gonna say, if that's your biggest concern, I have to take issue with how you raised your kid. Then
have a better relationship with your kid.
Right.
Fix that now. Make that the thing that.
Yeah. Work on that.
Yeah.
That can be the difference that you make.
Right. This too is meaningless and a great misfortune. What do people get for all the toil and anxious striving for which they labor under the sun? All their days, their work is grief and pain. It doesn't sound like if you're rich that you had a lot of grief and pain, but I digress.
I mean, they had slaves. I don't think they were doing all this toiling. They were telling people to do the toiling for them. But
and they were like, oh, I worked all so hard today telling my slaves about the hard work they needed to do.
I mean, he had slave singers.
Yeah.
That's above and beyond.
Like, maybe you missed the mark there. Maybe you were supposed to be singing.
Right? Yeah.
Right. Like, take singing lessons.
Yeah.
You're allowed to sing.
Yeah.
Like, you almost had it. So close. Even at night, their minds do not rest. This, too, is meaningless. A person can do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in their own toil. Yeah. That's exactly what we're saying,
well,
my guy.
I feel like this guy has a mixture, or this person has a mixture of, like, ADD and depression.
Yeah.
And, like, their mind's always racing about all the things that need to be done and could be done, and, oh, my God. And
my time's too short, and
right.
I'm Hamilton. I don't have enough time. This, too, I see, is from the hand of God, for without him, who can eat or find enjoyment?
Ooh, me.
Right? Same. To the person who pleases him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness. But to the sinner, he gives the task of gathering and storing up wealth to hand it over to the one who pleases God. This, too, is meaningless.
Wait,
chasing after the wind.
Which are you? Are you the sinner, or are you the... Because, like, you're kind of giving me a mixture of both here.
Right.
That you're wise and you're
a wise
wealth,
sinner.
But you're going to be passing it over to somebody who doesn't have any... So they're kind of mixing the two things here.
Yeah,
and
I'm not really sure.
I'm not sure either.
I'm eager to find out more.
Yeah.
But that's
I am worried about this person, though.
I am very worried. They sound suicidal ideation at the least.
Right.
And I'm like, you can't put your meaning... You can't find meaning in... You can't put your meaning that you find in, like, something else that's meaningful to other people. You have to find it yourself.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the things when we first got together that you had to teach me. You have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. And that sounds so fucking cliche.
But it's true.
It's a cliche because it's true. Like, it's kind of like, if you don't love you, why the fuck should I?
Right.
Like, not to be cruel.
No, but it makes it difficult for other people to,
yeah,
be a part of your life if you can't first accept yourself for who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes all other relationships that much easier once you have. So.
Exactly.
Was there anything else today, or was that it?
I'm just kind of at a loss. No, that's it.
It's still beautiful, like the way it's written. It's still very beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm just I don't think that this person is mentally okay.
I don't either.
Because I don't think they're even speaking correctly about what God is responsible for and what God isn't responsible for.
Right.
I feel like they're just depressed about their life,
mm-hmm.
and they can't even see exactly what they're saying and how it doesn't really make sense with regard to God.
They didn't even mention God till the end of the chapter, and I feel like they tacked on like, oh, I'm supposed to talk about God
right.
too.
I feel like that might have been tacked on as an afterthought by some other writer, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that being said, this is very not in the vein of going with the whole God message in the Bible so far.
Go gadget God, and then he's like, but not really.
Yeah, no, I'm still enjoying this.
I'm enjoying Eeyore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like we all love Eeyore, or if we're going Care Bears, we all love the sad Care Bear. Is
it Grumpy?
It is Grumpy.
Yeah.
And then the Smurf is Grouchy Smurf.
Sounds right.
And then what is the Seven Dwarfs? What's that one? He's Grumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We all like the grumpy, grouchy guy.
Right.
Sure. He's the one that tempers all the love and the joy that can be a little overbearing. You need somebody a little cynical and dark.
Definitely.
To kind of balance it out.
But I don't think you have to be depressed to be cynical and dark, exactly.
No, but this guy is.
Definitely.
And I'm saying guy in the generic sense.
Sure, because they keep referring to themselves as that. So
yeah, and I'm still not entirely convinced that it's not either a woman or somebody with gender dysphoria.
Right.
Like, yes, that's just me pulling that out of my ass.
But given the name, it could be.
It could be.
I mean,
it really surprises me that nobody else has mentioned it.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah. So anyway, that was Ecclesiastes Chapter 2.
It sure as fuck was.
And we will be back tomorrow with
Ecclesiastes Chapter 3.
We will see you then.
Yep. Bye. Husband!
Wife!
Do you know where we are?
We are in Ecclesiastes.
We are.
Yeah, and we just started it a few days ago, so I think we're in chapter 3.
We are. Very good.
Awesome.
I'm impressed.
And there's a lot of, just really interesting tone in these chapters.
Tone. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They got some tone.
They've got some tone, for sure.
What kind of tone do they have?
Not tone loc.
Wow, thanks.
I mean, that's the first thing that came to my mind, you know?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's very morose, very dark, very...
It's pointless and meaningless. Yeah. Everything sucks.
Which, I mean, I don't agree with. I'm kind of having to argue, no, you can make better, come on, get positive, take some happy drugs or some soma or something. Come on.
And get some therapy.
Yeah, get some therapy. But then I realized this is the, Bronze Age. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you're screwed. So that's where we're at, I guess.
Mental health during that time period was a real wash.
Not as good as it is today, I guess.
Not as good as it is today. Nor was air
anything?
flight.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Pretty much anything.
You just couldn't get a flight anywhere. Oh,
it was awful, man. You had to wait for thousands of years.
Trains? Jesus. Yeah. Try getting a train ride back then.
All right. So yesterday we did Ecclesiastes Chapter 2.
Correct.
And today we're getting into
Ecclesiastes Chapter 3.
Let's go do this.
Okie dokie. All right, let's hop into Ecclesiastes Chapter 3.
Okay.
There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. :
I feel like that's every season, the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, yeah.
Yeah.
What am I thinking of there?
A time to die, a time.
Yeah.
There's a time to something.
There's something about seasons in that song too, right? Yeah. Time for every, sure.
Yes.
Sorry, that just reminded me of that. That's all.
That's not the first time that we've made that reference, and it's been pointed out that, yes, it's in Ecclesiastes.
Got it.
Here we are.
A
time to be born and a time to die.
Oh.
A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build.
Wow, this is like almost the song.
This is the song.
Wow.
A time to weep and a time to laugh. I'm also giving it the correct,
Yeah, no, the cadence.
Count.
Yeah, right.
A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them.
I don't think that was in the song.
No, but it should have been, because
right,
I
that's
like
a good
it.
line, yeah. Right.
A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. That one is not in there, and I don't care for the phrasing, but I do like the imagery.
Sure, yeah.
A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of times.
There's a lot of times.
Yeah. A time to tear and a time to mend.
Okay.
A time to be silent and a time to speak.
Sure.
A time to love and a time to hate.
Okay.
That's in the song for sure.
Yeah.
A time for war and a time for peace.
Huh.
Okay.
Okay.
What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race.
That was a drastic change of, I feel like that beginning was very beautiful and there's a time for everything and there's all these back and forth.
It's almost like, hey, just hang in there. The season will change. And then he's like, no, it won't.
What's all this toiling for?
Right? Okay. I've seen the burden. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever.
I argue with that because I feel like I take more joy in things because I've done them myself. It's not God giving me these pleasures of my own. I was just talking about it today about how I love figuring out how to do things and then making them happen. I just changed the brakes in my car. Mm-hmm. And yes, I have kind of done that with help before, but I've never done it on my own. And I fully love the fact that I figured that out myself.
I mean, with a little help from the YouTubes.
With a little help from the YouTubes. But, I got the tools. I did the thing. And I'm, now I'm a car mechanic. I'm just going to,
I wouldn't go that far, but okay. Let's see. Know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear him.
Oh.
That's why.
That would just so we fear him.
Uh-huh.
I just got to throw that fear in there because it would be very bad if we forgot that we were supposed to fear him.
Fear.
Just got to toss that in there.
Be very afeared.
Yeah.
Pink elephants on parade.
I thought you were reading again. I'm like, what is this?
No, I was thinking of things that you fear,
Oh, okay.
That's a song from Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, okay.
It's
Sorry.
Heffalumps and woozles are very confusals. Da 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 da.
Got it. Yeah, I vaguely remember. It's been a long time, so.
He's very scary.
Yeah.
Whatever is has already been, and whatever will be has been before. And God will call the past to account.
I see.
You gonna pay.
I thought God already knew what was going to happen, so.
He does. He's going to call you to account for it,
okay.
Though.
All right.
That's different from
Got it.
You knowing. It's like when your parent calls you in and is like, is there something you would like to tell me?
Right.
And then you have a choice in that moment.
Right. Yeah, because you don't know what they actually know, right?
If they know anything, this might be a test.
Right? That was always a question, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Do parents actually know, or are they just like asking that way to see if they can figure something out?
And what if you accidentally tell them something that they didn't know,
right?
And then they did know something else, and then
you're really screwed.
Double whammy.
Yeah. Oof. Not good stuff there.
Not good at all. We didn't play that trick on the kid.
No.
And I saw something else under the sun. In the place of judgment, wickedness was there. In the place of justice, wickedness was there. I said to myself, said, God will bring into judgment both the righteous and the wicked. For there will be a time for every activity, a time to judge every deed. I also said to myself, as for humans, God tests them so that they may see that they are like the animals. Surely the fate of human beings is like that of the animals. The same fate awaits them both.
Death?
As one dies, so dies the other. That's right. Okay. All living things die.
I think that's pretty obvious. Living, you see that happen to all those things.
That's the exact definition of living.
Right.
Is not dead and then you die.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
All have the same breath. That's not true because plants live, they're alive, but they do not breathe in oxygen.
Right. That's true.
They are the opposite of us.
They are. And thank goodness for that.
Right?
We need more of them.
Where would we be without the trees?
In a lot worse shape than we are currently.
All have the same breath. Humans have no advantage over animals. I mean, the opposable thumb.
That's a slight advantage. The brain, I mean.
Questionable sometimes.
Well, that is, yeah.
I mean, okay.
It's gotten us into some trouble, too.
We did build elevators, and I never saw a zebra do that.
Nope, no zebra has built an elevator that I'm aware of anyway.
Right? Everything is meaningless. Oh, we're back to that.
Oh.
I'm sorry, guy.
Man.
All go to the same place. All come from dust, and to dust all return.
Yeah.
Who knows if the human spirit rises upward, and if the spirit of the animal goes down into the earth? So, I saw that there is nothing better for a person than to enjoy their work, because that is their lot.
I agree.
You might as well just enjoy your shit, because shit's what you got.
That's like exactly what I preach, basically. Like, if you're gonna be on this earth, you might as well enjoy your time here, because you don't, like it said, you don't know, or you want. Okay, atheism is the lack of belief in God, right? It doesn't mean we have an answer to anything.
No.
And I don't believe it. I believe I turn to, dirt, basically, when I die. But the truth of the matter is that I don't 100% know. Science hasn't 100% proven anything exactly.
Right.
That being said...
It's for sure what happens to your body.
Right.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like...
Do we have souls?
I don't know.
So, but...
No.
Like, whatever.
But I'm just saying, like, even if we leave room for just, like, the slightest bit of doubt as to what's going to happen after we die, right? You still... What's the point of not living a good life? You don't know. And to play your life differently on a guess that there's some God you're supposed to be fearing...
I might be rewarded or punished.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And this person in Ecclesiastes seems to get it.
Kind of.
Which I'm like...
In a very dark, depressing way.
Right, yeah. They needed drugs. But I mean, obviously.
Right.
But they seem to get it.
For who can bring them to see what will happen after them?
No one.
The end.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of my point.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. Like, they're kind of like... I feel like Christians should read these chapters.
Maybe in life we need a little more Eeyore, y'all.
I mean, I think that there is definitely a place for dark thoughts. I mean, if we didn't have dark thoughts, we wouldn't have Edgar Allan Poe. We wouldn't have, I don't know.
Edgar Allan Poe.
No, that's the first thing that came to my mind. I mean, there's all kinds of dark thoughts that have really been great artistic pieces. And I can't imagine where we would be without that stuff. So I'm sorry I didn't come up with anything else besides Edgar Allan Poe, but that's where I was at with it. So yeah. Anyway, Read some Edgar Allan Poe. He's good. You know,
but
highly recommended.
Oh,
I can't believe you didn't bring anything up because you're like the perfect person to bring up like dark material.
Okay, not Shakespeare. Frankenstein.
Yeah,
that was dark.
Right.
I mean, like that whole tale is like a dark and rainy night, and then you throw a fucking monster into the storm.
Yeah.
Like, wow, so good. Oh, you know what? I did say Shakespeare. The Tempest is pretty dark. Mm-hmm. Like, I really liked that one.
Yeah.
Because they're stranded on an island, and there's a storm, and there's like magic afoot, and there's a monster, and it's some creepy stuff. It's a good one. It's a good one.
I like more contemporary. I like Chuck Palahniuk. Palahniuk. Yeah, he's got some pretty dark shit.
Yeah, he does. So. He's the one that wrote Fight Club, right?
Yes. But many
others. Yeah. Oh, he's real dark.
He's real dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's a really good book, y'all? You should read The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. It's a great book for this time of year. It's a contemporary Gothic tale. And it's sometime within the last 10 years it was written. It's among my favorites.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for another, like we're heading into fall and dark time of year kind of thing, A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay.
You had me read that one. That was good.
Yes. Yeah. It was so good.
Yep.
That one is definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now that we got some book recommendations. No, sorry, wife's not done.
One more. This is the one I was trying to think of when you were saying Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
This isn't Edgar Allan Poe, but this is what I would have said. Wuthering Heights. You either love it or you hate it.
Okay.
Most people hate it. I loved it because I eat up that dark shit.
Right.
That dark Gothic.
Yeah.
Give me it.
Yeah.
Oh, related but unrelated. Did you know if you look up the definition of a Gothic tale and you look up all the things that are part of what makes up a Gothic tale, that actually the Harry Potter world, like particularly the first Harry Potter, it could be construed, if it was darker and less enjoyable, it is a Gothic tale. It has all the parts of it. We're talking a mirror. We're talking twins. We're talking a castle with nothing stays where it's supposed to.
Right.
Ghosts, right?
Yeah.
And orphans. Like, if you literally look up the definition of a Gothic tale, almost every single thing appears in Harry Potter. It's like J.K. Rowling took that and then was like, but fun.
Right.
A Gothic tale, but fun.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I went off on literature for a minute there, but I just thought it was so interesting when I made that discovery.
But we should say something else about J.K. Rowling while we're on the subject.
Oh, yeah. Caveat, J.K. Rowling is a cunt. But we've decided, with permission from our child who is part of the LGBTQ community, that
as our family,
not like across the board, like we are not a monolith, they are not a monolith, that we will take the art and leave the artist in the ditch.
Yeah. Because
the world is bigger than the artist at this point.
But I feel like that artist needs to be caveated when you're mentioning them.
You are right, and thank you for bringing that up. I was stuck in the literary part of the world,
right?
And I forgot about, but that artist is a cunt.
Right.
So
yeah, there's that.
We don't do transgender, anti-trans stuff on this. We don't stand for anti-trans.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
No TERFs allowed.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. That being said,
this book is kind of cool. I'm digging it. I'm liking the mood of Ecclesiastes.
Yeah.
It's right up my alley.
It definitely is. Yeah. I like it a lot.
I don't fear God.
No.
I'm not excited. Like, I don't embrace death, but I'm not, like, afraid of it.
And if anybody can figure out how to send drugs back about 2,000 years, 3,000 years, maybe we should get this guy some help.
I think it's more 3 than 2.
Yeah, right. Whatever. Yeah. So.
All those years.
But whatever.
Back in
somewhere
the
BCs.
Back there.
So that was Ecclesiastes Chapter 3.
Sure as fuck was.
And tomorrow we will be back with
Ecclesiastes Chapter 4, and I'll try to be back on track.
Ecclesiastes?
Isn't that what I said?
You said Ecclesiastes.
Did I really?
You did.
Okay, Ecclesiastes Chapter 4, and I will try to be more
We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Good word. Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you know where the fuck we are?
We are in Ecclesiastes.
We are.
Yeah. And I'm really enjoying this book.
I am too.
It's oddly satisfying.
It is.
And I think specifically it's oddly satisfying for somebody who is a non-believer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe that's not entirely true specifically to atheists, because I've heard from many of our people who are ex-Christian that this is one of their favorite books as well.
Right.
And I don't think it stemmed from them becoming an atheist, maybe, but just the beauty of it and the wording and everything.
This person is feeling hopeless.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know where it's going to go, where they're going to find hope, if they're going to find hope, but thus far...
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, for the Bible. I caveat that with for the Bible.
Yes.
Because we're in the Bible.
Because always caveat it.
For the Bible.
Footnote, Bible.
So I believe last time we did Ecclesiastes Chapter 3.
Sure as fuck did. Which
means today we're going to be getting into...
Ecclesiastes Chapter 4.
Awesome. Let's go do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, Ecclesiastes Chapter 4.
All right.
Again. I looked and saw all the oppression that was taking place under the sun.
That damned oppression.
That's been happening forever.
Right?
It's been happening for ages.
Seems like it never ends.
Over a couple thousand years now.
I mean, all of humanity, maybe.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I saw the tears of the oppressed, and they have no comforter.
Okay.
Power was on the side of their oppressors, which
that's generally how that works.
Oppression works. Yeah. And they have no comforter. And I declared that the dead who had already died, which again, that's how that works.
The dead are usually dead.
Yep. Are happier than the living who are still alive.
I'm going to argue that point. I don't think dead people can have emotions.
Right. I'm going to agree with you, because either they're dead and gone and done.
Right.
Or religion-wise, they're where they're supposed to be in their little afterlife place.
Right. But then you could apply emotion to them hypothetically.
Okay.
Maybe.
But you're telling me that people in heaven are less happy than people on earth living?
No.
See?
Well, but maybe they're in hell.
But okay.
I'm just saying, if we're going with afterlife,
okay, but he didn't specify. He just said living people are not as happy as dead people, or dead people are happier than living people.
No, and I think that's a very morose. I'm using that word too much lately, but it's a very dark statement.
Right.
That is just
might as well be dead. Better to be dead than alive.
Right. It's the depression issue that's coming up throughout this so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I believe that's how I'm taking it in anyway.
Oh shit! But better than both is the one who has never been born.
Damn.
Who is not...
tell me that's not something that every teenager is... I wish I'd never been born.
Or, I didn't ask to be born.
Right.
Who is the unborn person who has not seen the evil that is done under the sun. Damn.
Okay.
So, better to not even have been born so you don't see that evil.
I can agree that there is evil that is, like, it's a thing where older people become more and more cynical, right?
Yeah.
Because you see more and more injustice in the world and more evil, I guess you could say.
Sure.
And I don't really believe in evil.
Young people don't have the manners that we had when I was a kid.
Sure, right.
Boy, people are getting ruder and ruder all the time.
But I argue this point to the extent that I think that cynical behavior in general, and I will admit, I am more cynical than I was when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I think it's inevitable, right?
Sure.
But also, I think that countering cynical behavior has to do with forward motion, right?
Yes.
You have to be able to say, I'm going to do something to rectify that situation. I want to do something to rectify that situation.
And I fall into a very, very bad habit of being cynical and allowing it to be an excuse to be lazy and wallow.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people do that.
Right. But you also recognize the the good that it would do to stop doing that.
Right. I'm just saying it's really easy to be like, everything sucks, why bother? And let that be the end of the sentence.
Yeah. And that's with me, my latest entry into this is that I've become more and more cynical with regards to politics right now, sure. Right? And so I start examining, I've done this recently, where I'm examining what is going on in the political landscape, especially here locally in Ohio, where we live.
Right.
And I'm saying to myself, okay, you're cynical, you're jaded, you're pissed off at the way things are going and the way things might go, right?
What are you going to do about it?
What am I going to do about it?
Right.
And I know that we have a bit of a platform, so I'm not going to say that this is available to everybody in the same way that I'm doing this, but I actually took the initiative. I had one of our people on Discord mention somebody that's running for office here in Ohio that's a trans candidate in one of the state houses, that's state house openings that's coming up in our elections.
Right.
And so I took that opportunity to reach out to that person, and I've heard back from them, and we've been in a little bit of a discussion. Right. I'm very excited about the possibility of getting more involved in local politics. And it changed my whole mindset as to how I feel about that.
Right.
You know, like just doing something with forward motion to change how I feel helped.
And it may not change a goddamn thing except for that, but at least you tried.
At least I tried, yeah. And maybe I've made some better connections that help later down the road too. You know, like I've done something to move forward instead of just sitting there becoming more and more pissed.
Yeah.
So that's all. I know I went on a bit of a rant there. I apologize.
No, I agree with you because, like I said, it's very easy to fall into that. It's easy to fall into thinking everything sucks and just stopping there and not getting angry and allowing that anger to fire you to fuel you and fire you forward.
Right, right.
And I'm more of the everything sucks type. And you're like, everything sucks. Let's fix it.
Right.
Which I appreciate in you.
Yeah.
That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw that all toil and all achievement spring from one person's envy of another. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. I love the chasing after the wind that we keep coming back to.
Yeah.
Envy. Yeah.
Really? He thinks that all motion forward for people.
All toil. And all achievement.
And all achievements is based on envy from other people, of other people.
That's what he says.
I don't know how I feel about that statement, but okay. I'm going to have to mull that one over a bit.
I know that that's not true because agriculture in and of itself is one of the defining points. Like the creation of agriculture is one of the defining points of moving humanity forward from a nomadic to a stationary society, able to start creating more and being able to take care of itself and its citizens, and to become a society, and you don't know a thing until like they weren't jealous of other people already having agriculture,
they worked as a community to create these cultures and create these societies.
What it actually came from was not envy, but from laziness. Hear me out. Let me finish. I know how that sounds, but agriculture comes from laziness because we work hard in order to make life easier for ourselves. So it's a active lazy, not like just a couch potato lazy.
Work harder, not smarter.
Yeah. Well,
or work smarter, not harder. Sorry, I said that backwards.
It's instead of, walking 100 miles to the nearest water, it's how do I make the water come to the crops?
Sure.
Right. So we're trying to make life easier and less cumbersome. That's what I mean by lazy.
Right.
And so that's where it comes from. Not envy. It comes from a need to make life easier.
Right.
Either for oneself or from the society as a whole, which selfishly allows us to make it easier for ourselves.
Well, and the reason I said I had to mull it over is because I am a bit of a competitive person, right? So I do base some of my actions on competitiveness, but I like to refer to it as healthy competitivism. Yeah. I like to push myself by measure of other people sometimes.
Yes.
And it just helps gauge where I'm at.
At work, you always succeed more when somebody at your workplace is better than you.
Yeah.
You just do.
Right.
And not because you want to bring them down, but because you're like, oh, there's a way I can improve. You look at it as a self-reflection.
What can I learn from this person?
Yes. Yeah. Which, again, I mean, not that I'm trying to, like, suck your dick here or anything, but, like, it's just another one of those things that I do love about you and admire about you.
Sure.
So, God, I sound like I love you or something.
Yeah,
I
that's
keep
weird,
complimenting you.
It's
No
weird.
more.
Yeah.
No more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Fools fold their hands and ruin themselves. Better one handful with tranquility than two handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind.
Okay.
What?
It's a odd statement there.
Better one handful with tranquility.
I'm down with tranquility. So, like, that's a good thing.
But only one handful of it.
But it's better than two hands with toil.
With toil and chasing after the wind. So,
but how do you get tranquil? Like,
but
what are we measuring here exactly?
Right. Like, the whole point of the toil is to bring yourself to tranquility. And the whole point of chasing after the wind is sometimes you follow a dream and
it doesn't pan out.
Sometimes it pans out and sometimes it doesn't, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't worthwhile.
Right. Like, I mean, we have a mildly successful podcast.
Right.
I mean, by all rights, compared to most podcasts, we are enormously successful, actually.
We're in the top 10% of podcasts.
Right.
I mean, that's successful
but with regard
in my eyes.
With regard to our livelihood,
right,
it's a mildly successful podcast, right?
Yeah, monetarily,
it doesn't
it's
really...
It's not a failure.
It sustains itself.
It's not a failure.
Right. So I wouldn't, like, and we've toiled at this for over 3 years now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that, let's say that this never goes any higher than where we are now. Let's say that the fan base that we have is all that we'll ever have, right? I will not count that as a loss.
No.
I've had a great time. I've enjoyed this adventure.
I've enjoyed it immensely. I've learned a lot. We've met some awesome people.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's the success right there.
And we've learned so much.
Right.
Like, you have to enjoy the toiling that you're doing. That's important.
Look, I don't want to discount the destination, but sometimes it fucking really is the journey, my guy.
Right.
You know?
Well, and
this dude doesn't seem to get that.
Yeah. No, I think this person, again, is very depressed.
Yeah.
And they're looking at things completely wrong.
Yeah.
And it's just coming out as very dark statements on how everything works.
Yeah.
And I can be depressed sometimes. I am depressed sometimes. But
I would say you're down sometimes.
Okay. All right.
I think the word depression as a clinical term has been misused by society. So I wouldn't say that you are depressed sometimes. I would say sometimes you're beat down by the struggles of our toil.
Okay. Fair enough. But what I'm getting at is that I don't know what I was getting at there. But
sorry.
No, that's all right. It's all right. I was just gonna say something along the lines of I can't not work towards making something better. Like, even if I'm depressed, I know for some people that's debilitating. So, like, I'm not saying that I represent everybody, right? But when I'm depressed, yes, it might sit on me for a few days, but eventually I'm gonna say, okay, I have to do something to rectify this. I have to do something to get myself out of this funk, Right. And I want to recognize that other people don't have that same ability to do that. So I that's why I kind of stopped myself and kind of stuttered on that whole statement. So
that's why I had to interrupt you, because that's not clinical depression. That's a funk.
I appreciate that. Thank you for stopping me. And
well, I only had to stop you because I actually have clinical depression.
Yeah.
And there is a difference between your funk.
That's why I paused.
Yeah.
So it occurred to me halfway through my remark that, okay. And I had to think about it.
No, that's fair. I mean, it is totally fair, because part of fighting depression within yourself is determining, is this a debilitating mental state or is this a funk? And if it's the one, okay, what do I do to change my quote unquote mood? And if it's the other, what do I need to do to change my clinical state.
Right.
Does that mean medication, therapy, whatever else?
Sure.
That entails.
And then mustering the help or self-will to do those things.
Making that phone call.
Right. Yeah, making that phone call.
Sometimes fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I've been playing phone tag with a new counselor, and let me just tell you, a person who suffers from depression, that's like the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Because a person who suffers from depression and does not like talking on the phone as it is, having to play phone tag is like, let's not.
Right.
Right. It plays into the everything sucks, might as well give up.
Right.
So I totally get it.
Sure.
Again, I saw something meaningless under the sun. Don't we all? There was a man all alone. He had neither son nor brother. If he was all alone, that means he also had no daughter or
friends
sister.
Or anything.
Yeah.
Probably not even a dog.
Probably maybe a dog.
You think so?
They didn't count dogs as friends back then.
Got it.
He might have had a dog. We just don't know
about
about
cats?
it.
Were they counted as friends?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Got it.
There was no need to his toil, yet his eyes were not content with his wealth. Oh, I apologize. I read that wrong. There was no end to his toil. I don't know why I said need. There was no end to his toil, yet his eyes were not content with his wealth. There was no end to his toil. That sentence is dumb.
Right. Okay.
If there was no end to his toil, why would he be content with his wealth? Of course he wasn't. He's like, I just got to keep toiling.
Right. But sometimes continuing to toil after you have wealth is not... Okay, I'm going to speak for myself here. If I was a wealthy person, do you think that I would stop working?
No. You would find something. You are a busy person. I guess what I'm arguing here is the word yet. I think it should say there was no end to his toil and his eyes were not content with his wealth.
Okay. Yeah. That maybe makes a little bit more sense. Yeah.
The word yet doesn't go there.
Right.
They're like, he breathed oxygen, yet he inhaled again and again. And I'm like, no, the yet doesn't
go there.
It doesn't go there.
Right.
Okay. For whom am I toiling? He asked. And why am I depriving myself of enjoyment? Yeah, smoke a J.
I guess at least he's acknowledging it. So
sure.
Yeah.
This too is meaningless. A miserable business. Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up.
Oh.
All of a sudden we're talking about
this is like the Ebenezer Scrooge story. Like you can't like this is like exactly what that is based on, right? Like Scrooge, the old person that's got no friends, no family, and just toils until they die, right?
You gotta find someone.
You gotta recognize that happiness, and you gotta embrace family. You gotta embrace friends. You gotta embrace people into your life. Otherwise, it's not worth anything, right?
Find me somebody to love.
Right, but I mean, I can appreciate that sentiment a little bit. I think that people in your life is very important.
Sure.
And I can appreciate that toiling to toil just for yourself
is toilsome.
Yeah.
It's so toily. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm.
But is that what they're going to do?
But how can one keep warm alone? I could tell you. Do you have a plug? My good sir.
Do we put an Amazon link for that?
No. I mean, you just need a better blanket, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
They got those heated blankets even.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love my heated
They didn't have them
blanket.
back then, though.
But they have a lot of blankets back then. If he's cold at night,
that's
his
layers,
own problem.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that hearth
if
going.
He's got wealth. It said that he was toiling and he wasn't happy with his wealth. He can afford another fucking blanket.
Yeah.
He can also probably afford somebody to come, warm his bedside.
That's true.
So if he is cold at night, that's his own problem.
Right.
And I don't feel sorry.
That would just mean he's miserly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Get another blanket, y'all.
Right.
Don't be cold.
Yeah.
And if you can't afford a blanket, then a hay penny will do. And if you haven't got a hay penny, then God bless you.
I have no idea what that's from. I don't know what you're talking about.
what is it? Hold on. It's something about put a penny in the old man's hat. If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do. If you haven't got a halfpenny, then God bless you. Then God bless you.
You may have sung that before. I don't.
It's not the magic penny.
Is this from something? Is this just like a childhood song?
This is like a childhood song that everybody knows. Hold on.
Oh, well, apparently not everybody.
Oh, I got it. It's a Christmas song. It goes, Christmas is coming, the geese are getting fat. Please to put a penny in the old man's hat. If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do. If you haven't got a halfpenny, then God bless you. Then God bless you.
Got it.
It's Christmas is coming.
Got it.
And the geese are getting fat.
Okay.
You don't know that one? It's a Christmas song.
Sure. Sounds great.
Everybody knows it.
I'm sure you're right, except me.
Right.
And now, I'm the only one.
Now I'm going to find out
that nobody knows it.
We're going to hear from one of our followers. Don't assume everybody knows the things you know. Blah, blah, blah. Not everybody knows it. Okay, but a lot of people know this song, I'm telling you. Yeah, okay.
But you know it always happens, though.
Well, fuck off is all I got to say.
In the nicest way possible.
Well, yeah, affectionately, of course. Yeah. Fuck off affectionately.
Yes.
With your extra blanket and your dildo. Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves.
I mean, if you're really strong, I think one person could. He toils all day.
He toils.
So he might be a really strong dude.
I am certainly not an advocate of guns. But
if you had enough guns, you know, yeah, that could work too.
One could overpower.
Set traps. You could be a really good trap setter.
Traps,
right?
Yeah, bow and arrow.
There's ways to do this.
Yeah. Get yourself a good alarm system.
A moat. I've always wanted a moat.
Ooh, I want to build a moat.
Right?
Yeah. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken.
A cord of 3 strands.
Yeah, because you braid it.
Okay.
You know, have you seen that trick where you've got like 3 threads and one you can like break very easily, but then when you braid them, suddenly you have like this thick ass rope, and you're like, "What the fuck?" And it's amazing. Have you?
I have seen. Yeah, I know.
Or like with the twigs, right? Like this is like a thing you do with little kids, right? You show a little kid a twig and they break it, and they're like, "Yeah, it's easy." What?
Right. Now break it again.
Then you give them 3.
Right.
And you're like, "Okay, break these," and they can't do it because 3.
Yeah.
It like multiplies the strength of 1, not times 3, but like times 10.
It's true.
It is true.
Fold a paper in half 100 times. You can't do it.
So you know what that paragraph was advocating for was not to get a love in your life, but a threesome.
Or a kid.
Oh yeah. Better a poor but wise youth than an old but foolish king who no longer knows how to heed a warning. The youth may have come from prison to the kingship, or he may have been born in poverty within his kingship.
Okay.
Poor but wise than an old but foolish king. Well, yeah.
I suppose, sure.
But
also the king's rich and has access to a lot of things.
Right.
So,
like, that's like trying to tell somebody in our financial situation, you don't know the struggle.
Yeah, the burdens of being rich are so much.
And I'm like,
you wouldn't be able to handle it.
I'm just like, challenge accepted, motherfucker. Hold my beer and I will be the judge of that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The youth may have, I just read that part. Blah, blah, blah. Born with poverty. Yeah, he just doesn't know what it's so, the hardships. Nobody knows the troubles rich have seen. Nobody knows the sorrows of having all this money that you got to pay taxes on.
Right.
But at least you don't have to worry if you get a flat tire because it's not going to like
ruin
fuck up your whole entire budget for the month.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I saw that all who lived and walked under the sun followed the youth, the king's successor. There was no end to all the people who were before them, but those who came later were not pleased with the successor. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind, the end.
Okay.
I don't really...
Apparently he didn't like the successor to the king or something. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but
youth.
Okay. Yeah, those damn youth.
Riches for the old and ignorant and greedy, and the youth, and... they're meaningless too, and
everything's meaningless.
Everything sucks.
You gotta toil too much or something.
This whole thing is like a dirge.
I didn't like this chapter as much. Maybe it was just the way we read it.
Could be.
Because there was a lot more, in my opinion, to argue in this chapter than there have been in previous ones.
Sure.
So, like, the rest of them just kind of read more of a poetry type reading, you know?
Sure.
And this was, if we read it differently, it might have come across different, like, it might have read differently as a full piece. But there was a lot of things to argue, in my opinion. So, and there have not much more so than the last 3.
I'm still curious where this is headed.
Yeah.
And I'm still enjoying that it's like, everything sucks.
Right.
But I will say it is also getting a little tiresome for chapters
I think that's, maybe that's why I'm arguing more, because I'm like, okay, enough, dude. Like,
where are you going with all this?
Right, yeah. We got to figure this out, man. You're depressing me.
I mean, we told you before, like, you need to find what you enjoy. And you need to pursue that. And you need to pursue it for yourself. Not for riches, not for the expectations placed on you by others, and not for wealth and none of that stuff. You need to get a hobby.
Right, yeah. Definitely. You
need to, like, The Runaway Bride, that movie starring Julia Roberts.
Uh-huh.
At the very end, like, the whole way through, she always liked the kind of eggs that whoever she was with liked.
Sure.
And so then at the end, I think it was Richard Gere asked her, what kind of eggs do you like? You know, do you even know? Like, do you even know what you like? Do you know what you are?
Right.
And so at the very end, she's like run away from everybody and everything. And she tries all these different kind of eggs. And it turns out she doesn't like any eggs. She doesn't even like eggs.
Got it.
So this guy needs to find out what kind of eggs he likes, if any.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, okay. That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was Ecclesiastes Chapter 4.
Sure as fuck was.
And we will be back tomorrow.
Saturday with a Q&A. It's Saturday Q&A. Or it might be Q&A Saturday.
It's been so long since we've done one. It's been 2-3 books ago now.
Yeah, I think it's the second one, though.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So let me try it again. Yeah. Q&A Saturday. Yeah, that's
better.
The one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, I think this week we're doing
a Patreon.
Yes.
As well as live at
so we'll be
3
doing
3 p.m. Eastern to make up for the one that we missed on last
Discord.
week.
On Discord. Yeah, so be on the Discord channel for the live if you want to catch that at 3 p.m. Eastern.
And that's when we will be doing Ecclesiastes Chapter 5, which will come out on Monday.
Right. All right, so that's what's coming up, and we will see you guys soon.
Yep, bye.
Bye.
Husband!
Wife!
Do you know where the hell we are?
We are not doing a Q&A.
So here's the thing. Yeah. When we recorded our last episode last night, we both, for some reason, at the same time thought it was Thursday or some shit.
You mean, well, we thought we were recording on Thursday that was going to release on Friday.
Yeah.
Which would then put the next episode released on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Which it was actually Wednesday. And now it's going to get really confusing.
But the point is
that we're actually doing an episode of Ecclesiastes today.
Yeah, for Friday.
We're
recording Thursday night for Friday morning.
Because when you're listening to this, it'll be Friday.
Yeah.
So.
And you'll be like,
happy Friday.
What the fuck are you even talking about, you dumb-dumbs?
Sorry we were dumb the other day.
We were just dumb.
Yeah.
But it's weird that we both thought it was the next day.
Yeah. I mean, once it was said, it was just like, we just did our thing, you know?
We're like, yeah.
So, I mean, after it was said, nobody questioned it, you know?
But then we both realized separately today, and then the first time we saw each other after, like, work and stuff, we were like, oh, hey, by the way, we were wrong. Yep. Oh,
Right.
So.
Yes.
Today. Yesterday. We did.
Ecclesiastes Chapter 4.
Right.
And today we're going to be doing
Ecclesiastes Chapter 5.
All right. Let's go do this.
Okay, Friday. All right, so here we go. Jumping into Ecclesiastes Chapter 5 on a Friday.
Okay.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Guard your steps when you go to the house of God.
Okay.
Okay. Go near to listen.
Wait. Aren't you supposed to not have steps? Remember how they aren't supposed to have steps so you can't look up people's skirts and shit?
Those are stairs.
Oh, what's the difference between steps and stairs?
Like steps is like the steps that you take.
Oh, steps to get there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Like every time you take a step, you're stepping.
Right.
You know?
Every step
as you're walking.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I'm looking at you like, don't. Just don't. Right. So as you're walking along, guard your steps when you go to the house of God.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Go near to listen rather than to offer the sacrifice of fools who do not know that they do wrong.
Okay.
Be a good listener? Question mark?
Sure. Yeah. I go near to listen instead of what?
Sacrificing. Wait, what is it? Rather than to offer the sacrifice of fools.
Okay.
Who do not know that they do wrong.
So I guess you don't, but you don't sacrifice for other people, do you? Or maybe you do. Is that what it's saying? Don't sacrifice for... I don't know what that's trying to say exactly.
I feel stupid. Like, I feel like I don't get it.
Don't give a lamb to the dum-dum so he can sacrifice things?
I don't know. Like, listen to what's being said. Maybe like the pastor sermon delivering guy is not good.
That could be it.
And maybe you're supposed to listen.
Bad preacher pastor guy.
Yeah. And maybe you're supposed to listen and be like, nah, I'm not sacrificing here.
Yeah.
This is not.
This isn't the place.
He's giving the wrong message.
Right.
He's fucking talking in tongues.
Sure. He's swinging a sword all around.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
He peed on a tent. There's a throwback.
Right.
Do not be quick with your mouth. Do be quick with your mouth. Oh, yeah. Do not be hasty in your heart to utter anything before God. So think before you speak, including before you pray to God. You know. You should always
I'm not going to talk to God, but I mean, it's good to think your things, think through things before you say them.
Yeah.
Which I never do on this podcast. I just...
Ever. Me
stumble
neither.
through everything, so...
That's how we do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's the story of our relationship. And we're like, did you really mean to say that? No, I did not. God is in heaven and you are on earth, so let your words be few.
Because apparently God will take care of you as long as you're probably like a righteous, upright dude or whatever.
I guess.
Yeah. And do the non-sinny shit.
Well, when they say let your words be few, like you don't have to over-explain. You don't have to talk a lot. You just gotta stay in your lane, think before you speak, just be...
Don't eat shellfish.
Yeah, don't cut your hair certain ways.
Right. Don't wear mixed threads.
Don't wear mixed threads ever. Don't do it. Don't eat pork.
When you have a mildewy piece of clothing, you make sure you put that in the baked sun for like 7 days. And then if it's still mildewy, put it there for another 7 days. And then if it's still mildewy, then maybe like just burn it.
Don't eat blood.
Yeah, but dance in it.
Yes.
So,
but only if the blood is from your enemies.
Right, right.
Yeah. And make sure you let your dogs
lap it up. Yeah, right, definitely.
Yeah. A dream comes when there are many cares, and many words mark the speech of a fool.
I don't think that... No, I mean, I think that... No, many words don't mark the speech of a fool.
Right.
I think that many words, that doesn't mean shit. There's been some really great many word speeches in history. So that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
What do you... I understand that they're saying fools probably ramble on about nonsense for way too long or something.
And they do.
Sure. But I don't think that many words is an indicator of a fool or not. No. And less words does not make you more wise.
Exactly. Like, I have sat in many a college lecture where the same length of words, one instructor, their class was priceless. It was just, I could have sat there listening another couple hours.
Right.
And another one, they released us early and, not good. The whole thing, it still wasn't early enough.
Sure.
But... And vice versa. I have sat the full hour and was like, oh my God, this is terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
Versus I've had others that, they said what they had to say and they were like, okay, it's Friday, we're calling it short.
Yeah.
Go home.
Right.
And it was like the best class ever.
Sure.
So the length of your speech does not indicate the quality thereof.
No, not
or
at
therein.
all. Not at all.
When you make a vow to God, do not delay to fulfill it. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. He has no pleasure in fools. Fulfill your vow. I don't think just because you procrastinate means that you're a fool. It might mean that you're a procrastinator. Right?
I mean, I'm definitely a procrastinator, but I also am a very hard worker.
Yeah.
And so, like, my procrastination is more, I don't like to be held to specific times.
Yeah.
Because I don't work well that way. I work when I work, and I work really hard to do the things I need to get done.
Yes.
I just don't always do it in a linear fashion.
Right.
So
you suffer from ADHD.
Right.
Like severe.
Yeah. In fact, I'll probably do more than what I was supposed to do because I get sidetracked with other things that I wasn't even planning on doing.
Exactly. It's so annoying sometimes.
It is.
For both of us.
Right.
But I mean, it beats the alternative.
Did you hear my rant the other day to Kid when I was like getting frustrated with like how I sat down on the computer to do something specific and then I couldn't do it because I got sidetracked with like 5 billion other fucking things, and I got up and I hadn't done the one thing that I sat down to do. So I at that point I just was like, oh, and I went into the living room and I was like, Kid, I just ranted like it was the best rant ever. I can't repeat it. I can't make it happen again.
You can't do it justice.
No, I can't do it justice. So,
that's too
but
bad.
it was good.
It was a good rant.
And Kid was like, yeah, like they empathized. They were like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. It's related to executive dysfunction, inability to prioritize, just jumping around from topic to topic, and inability to focus, and all kinds of stuff.
But I've honed my ability to get what needs to be done. I'm
not saying any of those things is bad and you are inherently bad for having all of those traits.
Yeah,
I'm saying I feel bad for you that you have them because they do sometimes give you a hard time.
But we've talked about this before, though. I don't think if I didn't have it, I don't think our podcast would be what it is either.
No, it would not.
Because I throw spaghetti at the wall and I pick the things that stick.
Mm-hmm.
And I throw so much goddamn spaghetti at the wall. Mm-hmm. Things are bound to stick.
Something gonna stick.
Yeah.
Yep. It is better not to make a vow than to make one and not fulfill it. I mean, sure.
Right.
I
guess. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. If you're not gonna follow through, just don't
make a vow.
Say you're gonna do something that you're probably not gonna do.
I agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. Do not let your mouth lead you into sin. Slurp. And do not protest to the temple messenger. My vow was a mistake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no takebacks, bro. Yeah. When you're talking to God, no takebacks.
I guess.
Well, I mean, if you believe in God, then yeah, I think that should be true.
I mean, that one guy, we didn't get confirmation of it, but he killed his fucking daughter because of a vow to God.
Yeah.
Like, that's
so stupid.
That's so dumb.
It was stupid.
Yeah, like that's one of those offhanded things you say, right? Like,
yeah.
But why would you say that?
Right.
That he was going to slaughter the first thing that walks out of his house. How many things walk out of your fucking house?
Right.
I mean, you got a cat, you got a dog, you got pigs in there.
It's bound to be something that you care about.
Right?
Yeah, Dumbo.
Yeah, if it's walking out of your... I mean, that was just the dumbest shit.
Yeah, I don't remember what story that was. But
I don't either.
I do recall the story.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Why should God be angry at what you say and destroy the work of your hands? Much dreaming and many words are meaningless. Therefore, fear God. Wow. I wouldn't say, therefore, fear God. I would say, get your shit together. And if you decide to fear God, I mean, that's beside the point.
You know, I have to give apologists of today some credit. Because the apologists in the Bible, they're crap.
Yeah.
They do not do well.
No, they don't. And also, they don't fear God.
Those apologists need more apologists.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. If you see the poor oppressed in a district and justice and rights denied, do not be surprised at such things. For, it's not done.
Okay.
For one official is eyed by a higher one, and over them both are others higher still.
So there's a bureaucracy.
Well,
which is
it's
to say
basically
what?
saying, don't worry about it. It'll all work out in the end. Karma gonna get it. And I'm like, meanwhile, Meanwhile, people are being oppressed.
Yeah.
Can I care about them, though?
Right.
They're like, no, don't worry about it. God got it. And I'm like, but does he, though?
I don't know. I feel like I don't really... That's dumb.
Yeah.
That was dumb.
Yeah. Because if you see people being oppressed...
Apparently you're supposed to do nothing.
But that's not... When you see a problem... Once you see the problem, you are then responsible for choosing to either ignore it or try to fix it.
Right. Yeah. But the Bible just said to ignore it.
Yeah. And so, that's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
That is bullshit.
And they've said before that we're supposed to treat the poor well.
Mm-hmm. It just depends on the chapter.
Right. But apparently not if it's not... we're not supposed to if it's too hard.
Yeah.
If it's too hard, just forget about it.
Yeah. Forget about it. The increase from the land is taken by all. The king himself profits from the fields.
Okay. Well, I mean, wait, if it's all, then why does the king profit? I mean,
I don't really.
Yeah.
Whatever. Pass.
Yeah.
Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless.
We just talked about increasing profits, the last statement.
Yeah.
And then now they're like, it's all meaningless, though.
No, it's saying no matter how rich you get, you're always going to want more. So
okay.
It's meaningless to keep chasing money because...
Got it. But could I chase money to where I don't have to, like, worry about shit?
Yeah, I think that anything that has to do with chasing money should not count unless we're starting all of us from a place of standard of living, a decent standard of living. Like if there's housing for all and, heat, air conditioning, water, food, clothing, a car that's not about to break down any second. Like, we're all employed or whatever. We're all financially able to support our basic human living needs.
Right.
Quote unquote, the American dream, question mark?
No, the American dream more... It
was more the chasing the riches.
Yeah, chasing the riches.
I know. But the new American dream is a flat tire doesn't, ruin my budget.
Yeah.
Like, that's the American dream. Can I afford rent? Right?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I feel like they're trying to say if you chase wealth, you're never going to get enough. And like, yeah, I agree with that. That's what we've got CEOs and, people that own companies that are like banking billions with a B, hoarding wealth and all that. Like, yeah, they are never satisfied and they have zero problem shitting on their employees.
Definitely.
So, yeah, I get it. They are chasing wealth. Clearly, they can never have enough. Because I'm like, how much do you fucking need before you can finally give a shit about the people below you? And the answer is none. There's never enough.
Right.
I will always want to shit on the people below me. No, you just
transition from, shitting on people to building space rockets. Apparently. That seems to be the way to go.
That look like dildos.
That looks like, yeah. That's the way.
As goods increase, so do those who consume them.
Well, I mean, that actually does make sense because if goods increase, then you're going to be a prosperous, nation or whatever. And people will probably be more inclined to have more kids.
It depends. It depends on what your goods are. Maybe you made a whole bunch of VHS tapes right when DVDs came out. Or moving on with that one, maybe you just made a whole bunch of DVDs right when everything went digital and Blockbuster just stopped carrying DVDs. And,
anything?
And, well, before they went bankrupt altogether.
Right.
And, Netflix is like, we got this.
Yeah.
Like, then your goods are worthless.
Do you remember, I think we had a discussion once when it was one of our local video stores or whatever, and it was getting near the end of videos, like streaming was coming in and we still had videos. Like we had them out and we're like,
maybe we should just hang on to them. They're probably going to go out of business soon.
Yeah. Yeah, it was VHS from like a local grocery store.
Something like that.
Or like from a Suncoast that was like next door to a grocery store.
Right. I don't know. It was just a brief discussion we had, and I just remember it was pretty funny because we're like...
We saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah, well, because it was... Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, when Blockbuster started doing their thing like Netflix does, where you could borrow DVDs
through the mail
and then, mail them back, and then you could go ahead and get store credit and check out the next ones. Like, I buzzed through so many TV series. The entire series of Alias I did through Blockbuster trade-ins.
Yeah.
Where I basically only paid for like 1 or 2 of the entire thing.
Right.
And, just kept trading in for the next one.
Yep.
And it was right at that time. And I was like, I don't need Netflix yet because I got Blockbuster.
Right.
And then Blockbuster was like, JK. and then they got rid of their stores, but they were still doing the online thing. And then they were like, no, we can't. We fucked up. We did a bad.
Right.
Oopsies.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Uh-huh.
And what benefit are they, the goods, to the owners except to feast their eyes on them?
What were we just discussing? I'm sorry.
As goods increase, so do those who consume them.
Oh, okay.
Unless we're talking DVDs.
Yeah. Right.
And what benefit are they to the owners except to feast their eyes on them?
Okay.
To feast their eyes on the goods, I guess?
Well, the goods are increasing because more people are buying them, though.
Unless they're DVDs,
right? Unless
before
they're
streaming.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the whole thing is a little wonky.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
agree.
Following this model.
No, this chapter's a little weird compared
rough.
to what we've been reading. So
it's a little more economically based and less depression based.
Yeah.
The sleep of a laborer. This feels kind of like Proverbs.
Yeah.
I don't like this chapter.
I don't either.
The sleep of a laborer is sweet, whether they eat little or much. But as for the rich, their abundance permits them no sleep.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I would like... I'll try that problem.
Yeah, I'll try that. Yeah, I'll try to have that problem. I think I could sleep.
I think
honestly.
I could sleep just fucking fine because I could afford...
Probably with really nice bedding and sheets and everything, and it would be probably pretty comfortable.
Yeah. I could afford the correct medications during the day and during the night.
Right.
So my body would regulate.
You gotta get those the eye shades and stuff, Have it'd be great.
And the sleep number so that your bed is the exactly right angle and the right temperature.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah. I have a heated blanket, but I need a weighted blanket. And what I really need is a heated weighted blanket.
Right.
That would be epic. I have seen a grievous evil under the sun. Wealth hoarded to the harm of its owners. I'd like to see some of that harm to the owners.
Yeah,
honestly. How does that... Oh, you know what? I said that, but then we did just have that, those people that went down in the submersible and it exploded or imploded or what the fuck ever it did.
Right.
That was definitely wealth harmed those folks.
Right. Yeah.
Oopsies.
Yeah.
Or wealth lost through some misfortune. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So that when they have children, there is nothing left for them to inherit. Interesting.
Yeah, right.
Everyone comes naked from their mother's womb.
That is true.
I would hope.
Yeah, if you came out with clothes, I think I'd be a little worried.
Could you imagine a baby coming out with a top hat and monocle? That would be awesome.
I'd be like, kudos, kid.
Right?
Way to go.
Oh, that makes me think of that baby in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And he was a gangster baby, with a cigar, and he talked like this. But he was a baby.
He was, yeah. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, that baby kind of reminds me of, the new... I haven't really watched the movie, but, the Boss Baby stuff.
Yeah.
So, but that I don't have as much interest in that, but it kind of reminds me of the same attitude, maybe.
I haven't really.
I don't know anything about Boss Baby.
Yeah, I don't either.
But the attitude reminds me a little bit about that baby from Roger Rabbit, from the promos I've seen and stuff. So
yeah. But Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Right. Yeah.
You can't touch that movie.
Correct.
So good. Okay, everyone comes out naked. Oh, and as everyone comes, so they depart.
Yes,
they do.
I can see it coming in your face.
That was horrible. Because you literally
completely unintentional.
You did not mean to say that, and to see your reaction, you were like a separate entity from the person who said it.
Never. Let's just move along.
Moving along.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
No more cum talk.
Right.
They take nothing from their toil that they can carry in their hands. Okay. Pass. This too is a grievous evil.
I think that should be a name of a band. Grievous Evil. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
We got more cum talk ready.
Okay.
As everyone comes, so they depart.
We just said that.
And what do they gain since they toil for the wind?
Apparently nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, all we are is dust and
pointless.
The wind again, still some more. All their days they eat in darkness with great frustration, affliction, and anger.
Okay. Why?
I don't know. Too much money.
I guess, yeah. So you eat in darkness and frustration and anger.
I would like that problem.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand that.
I don't either.
So.
What the taxes?
Yeah.
This is what I have observed to be good, that it is appropriate for a person to eat, to drink, and to find satisfaction in their toilsome labor under the sun during the few days of life God has given them, for this is their lot.
Okay.
To eat, drink, and fuck. Just kidding. To eat, drink, and find satisfaction in toilsome labor. Okay?
I mean, yeah, enjoy your time. We've talked about that before. Enjoy your time here, you know? That's what you got. Yeah. So just enjoy it.
Everybody's got to put in their fucking 8 hours. Even if you're a stay-at-home parent, you're still, or a stay-at-home spouse or whatever, you're still doing the house stuff or taking care of the kids. Everybody's got to do their 8 hours, you know?
Right.
For somebody else, basically.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah. Toilsome labor, blah, 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 for this is their lot. Moreover, when God gives someone wealth and possessions and the ability to enjoy them, to accept their lot and be happy in their toil, this is a gift of God.
Oh, I see. So if you're happy and you're rich, it's because God
blessed you.
That's the only people that are happy and rich.
Mm-hmm.
You must be like God's chosen few.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's got to be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only ones that are able to be happy and rich.
I would like that situation, please.
Right, yeah.
They seldom reflect on the days of their life because God keeps them occupied with gladness of heart. The end?
The end?
Yeah, it's just they seldom reflect on the days of their life. That doesn't sound like a boon. That sounds problematic.
I'm gonna relate this to somebody in my life.
Okay.
My grandpa, when I was younger, he was a farmer, and he was one of the happiest, just freest people I knew. You know,
because he went into farming.
He went into farming because it was what he wanted to do, and he loved the work, and he loved the people that he met, and he loved his life. Really,
he worked right up until the day he died.
Literally.
Yeah.
I mean, literally was working when he died.
Yeah, like drop dead in the field kind of thing.
Well, in the barn, but yeah.
Still.
Same difference, right.
Yeah.
But he worked a lot, and his enjoyment was to sit at home and listen to a Reds game on the radio and enjoy his family.
The simple pleasures. Oh my gosh.
He was always, up until the day he died, he smiled every day, I think. Like, that's just the person I knew, you know?
I can remember, like, every time he did a family reunion thing.
Yes.
And every time, there were so many cousins there that, for me, I was still new to the family, so it was so overwhelming.
Right.
And that part was very difficult. Like, I didn't know who everybody was. I didn't know how they were related. And it was just, I had so much anxiety. But I always knew that if I could find your grandpa, he would always give me the biggest, warmest hug, and he would say, now which one are you related to? And he would be like, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but I just love ya. And that, like, to me, everything you told me about him, like, that epitomizes him. He was just happy, and he was like, this is all family. This is what it's all about. This is what it's for.
It was about work and family.
Yeah.
That was it. And Radio Reds games.
And he had no idea who the hell I was, but he had the warmest, most loving hug for me.
Right.
It was just so sweet.
Yep.
And to be so easily content.
Yeah.
You know? Just wow.
That's how I remember him. Now I know my dad would have some other things to say about him.
Oh, I'm sure.
But as a grandpa, that's who I knew him as. You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah. But that's what it kind of reminded me of, I guess. He was very content in his work, and he was rich too, for that matter. I mean, in his own way, you know. Yeah. He was a farmer. He had a lot of money. He didn't act like he had a lot of money. He just hosted his family and enjoyed his time he had by doing what he did.
Yep.
So. But anyway.
Find something you love. It's what we said. It's what we've been saying these last several episodes.
It's true.
Episodes. You know, get a hobby, you guys.
Right.
And if you can make it into the job you want, that's even better.
Definitely. Well, that was Ecclesiastes Chapter 5.
Sure as fuck was.
And now, tomorrow.
Tomorrow for real is Saturday.
Yeah, it's Saturday, so we're going to be back with...
Q&A Saturday.
And then on Sunday, we're going to be doing...
Patreon.
And I'll be doing the weekly wrap-up, of course. We also have our Discord for real on
Live.
Sunday at 3 p.m. So please, 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 if you haven't joined us on Discord yet, it's a wonderful event, and there's so much chat going on as we're doing our podcast. Like, it's just the most amazing thing. Like, we
so
love it so much.
We are jealous because, like, we can't read it and do the podcast at the same time. So the second we sign off the podcast, we hurry and scroll back through so that we can read what everybody was saying.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun, you guys.
It really is. It really is. And we sit there and we'll chat and answer questions and
just hang out.
Yeah, we really would just love to see you there. So please, Saturday, 3 p.m. If you can't make it to that one, we'll have another one on Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, of course.
10 p.m.?
Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Sunday at 3 p.m.
Sunday
Eastern.
At 3.
And then again on Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern.
And the one on Sunday we'll be recording Ecclesiastes Chapter 6, which will come out Monday morning.
That's right. All right. We will see you guys this weekend or next week. So have a great one, and we'll see you soon.
Yep. Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you know what we're doing today?
Well, I know it's late.
It is late.
Like, really late?
I mean, just a day late.
And, like, halfway through the next day.
Yeah, but still.
But, yeah. I think we're answering some questions today?
Yeah, because it's the late edition of Q&A Saturday, but on Sunday.
Right, mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So give us a little rundown of what we're covering today.
We are covering questions from Ecclesiastes Chapters 1 through 5.
Awesome. Let's go do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, Ecclesiastes Chapters 1 through 5.
Okay.
So I came across one question that we didn't realize was still a question because we thought we had settled the matter.
Okay.
Not really pulling from any one particular chapter. And it has to do with the name of the person telling this story.
Kohelet or whatever?
Yeah, Koheleth. Ecclesiastes.
Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
So we thought, like, why is the person telling the story given the name of a woman's name? What the fuck is that?
Right.
So what I came across in my research is that more likely than not, it wasn't the name of a person so much as a position.
Okay.
Of preacher or teacher.
Okay.
Which is a feminine noun usually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which that would be why that's why it's attributed to Solomon.
Did women usually hold these positions of teacher?
No, not necessarily.
Whatever?
No, but it's a feminine noun.
Okay.
So that has nothing to do with, like, the gender of the noun has nothing to do with the gender of the person holding the noun.
Right. No, I understand that. I just figured, like, I don't know. generally in like at least Spanish, right? Like, feminine and masculine nouns, they tend to agree with the... No?
No.
Okay. Maybe I'm just attributing something to something I don't know.
You are thinking of positions sometimes do, yes. But what we're thinking of is more like a car. Like a car in Spanish is el coche. So it's a male gender.
Okay.
Regardless of who's driving it.
Right.
It's just that noun is a male.
Right.
Okay?
No, I understand that.
So, yes, sometimes positions are doctor female or doctor male, right?
Right.
But in this particular case, this is more like a car, a preacher.
Okay.
Regardless of who's driving it.
Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
So that would
explain why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then when they're saying that, like, we think Solomon wrote it, that would be why they say that.
Okay.
So.
All right. Makes sense.
Okay. So there was this type of literature, a tradition of it, way back when, called pessimism literature.
Okay.
Everything's terrible and dark.
Right.
And Ecclesiastes is the only biblical example of that old literary tradition.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was almost not included because it's so dark and doesn't mention God except for maybe once, and never the Lord or, Yahweh or any of his
that last chapter names. Was a little different. The last one we read was a little, it mentioned a little bit more so than the others.
It did, but just generally speaking, it's presented as these are facts that are clear.
Right.
So clear to the audience at the time, so much so that I don't even have to back them up. I don't have to say Goddy God, 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 God.
Got it.
I'm merely stating these facts.
Implied.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So one of the key terms of the entire book is the term vanity.
Okay.
And so we are probably going to be seeing more of that. Like we already have seen, everything is vain. It's vain to do this. And it's also in vain.
Right.
The word vanity can be translated variously as absurdity, frustration, futility, and also nonsense.
Ah, okay.
So I found that interesting.
Right.
So going back towards what I was saying with him speaking, the teacher or whatever, preacher speaking to an audience who already kind of knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
The question in Ecclesiastes isn't about the existence of God, which they all take for granted, right? God exists. So they're not saying, does God even exist? The author is not an atheist, so he knows God exists. The question is whether or not God matters.
Oh.
And whether anything else matters.
I see. Well, it's still an interesting question and viewpoint for the Bible.
It is.
I mean, it still lends to a lot of atheist thinking, like
Job.
Right. Yeah. No, it's regardless of whether or not they are speaking from a point of God.
Right.
The material is very enjoy life now. You don't know what's coming, that kind of thing.
Right.
So they don't know, obviously they're kind of admitting here that they don't know what God is.
Right.
It's just, so why waste your life doing things that, don't matter?
Well, one thing they're saying, okay, toward that end, what's the purpose of Ecclesiastes then, right? What's the purpose of the fucking book?
Sure.
Well, it's an essay of apologetics. It defends the life of faith in a generous God by pointing to the grimness of the alternative.
Mm.
So they're not just saying, might as well enjoy it. They're saying, what's the alternative? Like, not enjoying it?
Right.
Or,
right.
Of course God exists, because the alternative is that, holy shit, God doesn't exist.
It's just that it doesn't quite read that way.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't. I agree with you.
And I guess if you're writing from a viewpoint of assuming God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it would, I can't put my mind frame in that mindset. I can't make my mind be in that same mindset.
No, I can't either. But one thing I also came across in my research is that a lot of Christian scholars and apologists will write about this concept of under the sun thinking. We came across the phrase under the sun, like everything under the sun, nothing new under the sun, right?
Right.
And so what they are implying with that phrase is that it's very limited because you can only see so far under the sun as opposed to eternity.
Got
right?
it.
So they would say he is engaged in under the sun thinking.
I see.
Yeah. So
from a human vantage point, from a human standpoint, limited view, not a godly view.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so that would kind of answer that question a little bit.
I guess.
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm saying this is what my research bore out. And it was kind of irritating how many times they would say Solomon was engaged in under the sun thinking or with this under the sun perspective. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Y'all think that phrase is cute.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it may be argued that Ecclesiastes was Solomon's statement of error and penance and evidence that he turned back to God at the end of his life. And I'm
based on
whatever.
Wasn't all the shitty things that happened with Solomon, like, didn't we read about it like in the last chapter?
Mm-hmm.
Which would indicate to me
he did not
that it was all at the end of his life where he was like, fuck it,
Fuck it, I'm getting old.
And this doesn't match my view of Solomon.
Me neither.
Like, these chapters don't match my view of Solomon at all.
They're trying to repaint him is what it is.
Right. And I mean, not that I knew the dude personally, but
but you already gave us an impression of him, and now you didn't like the impression and the aftertaste that it left the reader with. So now you're trying to repaint him so that we understand him differently, and we just didn't understand him.
Maybe.
I feel like that's the way the writers and the apologists are doing.
Sure.
Definitely the apologists.
Right.
Maybe some of the writers of the Bible itself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, I still have a nasty taste in my mouth, and y'all made it worse instead of better.
Right.
So this was a phrase that I came across, or not a phrase, but a quote that I came across, that I didn't mark down who wrote it because I don't want to.
Okay.
Because I don't want to give that person he doesn't need his name mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a research thing.
Got
Whatever. It. Anyway, a lot of people pointed to this, and it's so gross. The seeming futility of life comes from God. He has given it to man. God has deliberately built a system where life seems meaningless and empty. It may seem cruel of God to devise such a system, but it is actually evidence of his great love and mercy. He built within us the desire and need for that which brings meaning and fulfillment to life. As Augustine wrote, the Creator made a God-shaped space in each of us, which can only be filled with him.
I see. Just my 2 cents here, but that's, God is able to apparently affect how we feel directly with regard to, like, remember Pharaoh and other people that he did things to specifically, right? Mm-hmm. So you would think that he could create us a paradise and then also fill us with love for him.
But decided
if he
not
were
to.
a great, right, but decided not to and torture us and then let us flounder and figure it out on our own, apparently.
Yeah, and his love for us is so great that he created a fucking hole that can only be filled by him.
Right.
Let me just, back up a second and give a better, more man-made example of this. Mm-hmm. In the movie Jerry Maguire.
Yes.
Everybody gives it shit because there's a place where he says, "You complete me," to where Tom Cruise says that to, what's her face? Renee Zellweger.
Yeah, right.
And everybody's like, you shouldn't need somebody else to complete you. Right. You should be complete in and of yourself.
Sure.
And so, everybody's like, that's a horrible example of a romance. It's a cute movie nonetheless, but that's what comes out of that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's the minute that I read this phrase, that's what I thought of. You complete me. You're not a complete person in and of yourself. You require something outside of yourself.
Right.
And his name is God, and he made you that way on fucking purpose.
Yeah.
That's needy and gross.
Right.
He on purpose made you a needy fuck.
Well, and
what?
I disagree with that. I mean, I would consider myself a fairly happy person and fairly complete person, and I don't require God.
No.
So, that's just my take.
No.
I mean, I have my flaws, but overall, I'm happy. And,
I require
and pretty,
stickers.
Yeah, stickers are. I mean, great for you.
Yeah. I require stickers, and I require Dr. Pepper and coffee, and I require Sharpies.
Right.
So I do require things outside of myself, but they're not God. They're just the little silly things that either taste good or are fun to mess with.
Right.
They're not billion-dollar yachts.
Right.
So
definitely not.
Like, I definitely have a, temper on what brings me joy, and it's the little things, not the big things.
Right.
So just want to put that out there in case anybody's like, oh, she just needs material objects, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm saying I can also enjoy going out back and watching a bunny rabbit play in my backyard and
definitely.
eat clover.
Definitely.
That's adorable and fun.
Right.
Like, whatever. Anyway, yeah, apparently we have a God-shaped hole in us.
Yeah, I've heard that reference before, actually.
I fucking hate it. We're walking around like fucking puzzle pieces with the one piece cut out. Like, fuck you. Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah.
I'm not empty. You're empty.
That's right.
So, okay, chapter 1 contained the title of the book of, Koheleth, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's an exposition of some fundamental observations and the problem of life, especially the failure of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's a lot about wisdom, and one of the definitions of the word that we were questioning what it means might be preacher, might also be teacher.
Right.
So that's interesting.
Regardless, they rhyme.
Preacher and teacher do rhyme.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
But almost screecher rhymes too. Yeah. So,
Right.
And creature.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. You rolling your finger at me to hurry up when you're the one that did it.
No, I would.
Whatever. So, an interesting thing is that Solomon is talking about. Oh wait, no, never mind. Whatever. I was at the wrong part.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Anyway, so further evidence that is probably Solomon that wrote this or whatever, according to apologists, is that the only descendants of David to rule were either Solomon himself or Solomon's dumb son Rehoboam.
Got it.
So that's why they're like, see, it's totally Solomon, and also he talks about wisdom a lot, and he was totally wise.
He was the wisest, yeah.
Yeah. So the conclusion of chapter 1 is that wisdom can only enlarge one's view of the problem, but does not bring any solution, and the real solution is still to be anticipated.
Got it.
Like, that's what we were kind of like at the end of every chapter. We're like, I see what you're saying, but I'm still waiting for. So what is
the God bit?
Yeah. What is the answer then?
Right.
So, chapter 2 contains the presentation of a memoir that's continuing from chapter 1 with more observations on human efforts. And I really like the presentation in this chapter where, on one hand, wisdom is better than pleasure seeking, but on the other hand, both are equally unable to deal with the problem of death. Because, we all die in the end.
Right.
So wisdom is awesome, but it still doesn't tell you how to deal with the problem of death. And I'm like, that's not a fucking problem.
Right. It's just
solved.
a fact of life.
It's a thing that happens. So, both hands on the ladder.
Right.
Right? Like, when you're climbing, always have 3 points of contact.
I think that's what bugs me about religion, is that they're trying to solve death.
Yeah.
There is no solving it.
Right.
It just is going to happen.
Right.
And you either can be okay, you can either wrap your head around that, or you can get lost in fairy tales.
Yeah, so. and trying to find a way to be okay with it where you don't really die.
Right.
And I'm just like, but they also, they say that it's a problem, like as though it's generally acknowledged that we all agree that death is a problem. So they're like, oh, you sad people over there, you know, you'll never solve the problem of death. And it's like, right, but it's not a problem for me. It's not a universal problem.
Well, I don't think that anybody wants to die.
Well, no, obviously.
But the problem arises when you try to create essentially conspiracy theories for death.
Yeah.
You know, and this is where all religion stems from, is basically conspiracy theories for death.
Right.
And this is what might happen. This is what could happen. And what could we, how would this affect us? And why should we should worship this person because it'll help us with that death thing. And it's like, no, we're just going to die.
Right.
We're just going to die. That's it.
And that's sad. Okay. And that's sad, but it's okay. It's a part of the circle of life, so to speak, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't get any special treatment over the fox that died last week, you know? We're all going to die.
We're all going to die.
So enjoy your time here. Make as many connections as you can because you only live on that way. Mm-hmm. And just enjoy your life.
Not in like a hedonistic, you know...
Unless you want to. Sort of. I mean, you know.
Yes, I mean, you're only hurting yourself, but okay.
Enjoy your life in the way that is enjoyable to you.
Whatever is meaningful for you, I guess.
Right, yeah. You've got to determine that for yourself, though.
Right. The idea that Solomon might leave all his work and material wealth to a fool, his son Rehoboam, really seemed to trouble him. Yeah. Which is another reason that everybody is like, see, it's totally Solomon that wrote it because he knew. And this concern was well-founded, of course, because after Solomon's death, Rehoboam turned out to be a fool in many ways.
Sure.
So I think that's funny, but I think it's funny in and of itself, but it's also funny that apologists are like, see, further proof that this is Solomon.
I mean, yeah, right. Whatever. It doesn't really matter ultimately.
It really doesn't. And I think that's another thing that, like when I ask, I wonder who the author of this was, it's more of an academic curiosity.
Right.
I don't require it to be a specific known entity.
Well, and the truth of the matter is that even if we could kind of nail it down to somebody, we don't know much about these people even after we have nailed it down.
Right.
Like, what did we know about them? We know what we're reading in the Bible. We know the side stories. We know whatever, but that's it.
It's just that people who are biblical scholars, like from the, you know, religious perspective, not just from the comparative religion studies, but from like the actual religious person of faith.
Sure.
It's so important to them to nail these to people who are important in the Bible.
It helps to hold their fairy tale together.
Right.
You know, it makes it all more wondrous.
More magical.
More magical.
Right.
You know?
And I'm like, you're coming up with the answer and filling in theories afterwards. And that's not the way actual real thought works. The real scientific process is that, you might come up with some theories, but you can also acknowledge that there are other theories that don't necessarily match what you want them to.
Look, I was just going down a rabbit hole watching like different theories of end times on YouTube videos and talk about matching things up that don't belong together.
Right.
Holy shit, these people are nuts.
They are. They're just nuts. It's a fact. Sorry, but it is.
Right.
So in chapter 3, we move on to the author affirming that God is in control of everything.
Right.
But his ways remain mysterious.
Oh, aren't they though? Yeah.
You have your cake and you eat it too, so that you can have it both ways.
Right.
The author then laments the lack of freedom in human life, dictated by external and natural constraints, as well as no control when one is born or dies. There's a time for everything. And we don't get to turn. Yeah, but we don't get to be in charge of that time, and we don't get to know about that time.
Right. But we could if he wanted us to.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if there's a God.
Yeah.
There is no constraints on what a God can do, hypothetically. Mm-hmm. So, again, this is God. If God were real, this is God being a dick. And he's playing with us, and he's toying with us, and he's fucking around with us. And he's just a kid with some, army guys army toys, playing fucking shoot 'em up on the dirt.
And using a magnifying glass to put fire on some and not others.
Exactly.
This section, chapter 3, suggests the frustrating human incapacity to discern a deeper purpose in life, while simultaneously being understood as an affirmation of the beauty of life that God has given to the human race. So again, it's having your cake and eating it too. It's, dang, it sucks that we aren't God and can't discern the deeper meaning in life. But, oh my gosh, isn't it great that we can acknowledge the beauty in everything?
I think acknowledging the beauty in everything is enough.
I think that is the deeper meaning and purpose of life.
Yeah, I mean, why does there have to be a deeper meaning of, like, the deeper meaning of life and is what you make it. It's what you do with it. It's how you handle it. Mm-hmm. There is no deeper meaning. It is all you.
Right.
You make all the decisions on how deep and meaningful it is.
You get to be in charge of you, and sometimes that's wondrous, and sometimes that's depressing and scary and stifling. And it can be both, because we are deep people able to walk and chew gum at the same time.
I don't need to attribute it to an entity unknown.
No.
So.
No. That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, right.
You get to be in charge of you, and it's both wondrous and depressing and terrifying.
Sure. Right.
You know? It's all the things. You are your own God.
Yeah.
You have all the power within you, says Dorothy.
Congratulations on your promotion.
So then another paradox is pointed out in this chapter, wherein God has placed a sense of past and future into human consciousness.
Okay.
Even though we can only cope with the current moment that we're in. Got it.
Okay.
And that's sad, apparently.
But we can plan for the future. We can make things for you can deal with the past by working through issues. There are ways to deal with past and future. It's just not immediate changes that you can make.
But we're in the present.
Right. Obviously we're in the present.
That reminds me of wait, how does it go? The past is something and the future is something, but hold on. It's something about the
prologue
present
and past
is a gift or something.
Okay.
Like, I forget how it goes.
Yeah, this is going real well.
That didn't come out the way it was meant.
So there's something about past and present and future.
No, somewhere. But the present is a gift.
Yeah.
That's
okay. That's the gist of it. Basically.
That's the gist of it. It's the past is something, the future is something else, but the present is a gift.
Got it.
And I forget how it goes. It's a little ringy-dingy rhyme thing.
Sure.
Whatever.
Okay.
I clearly care a lot. So there's that. Oh, and one other thing from this chapter. Do you remember how they were talking about there's a time for this, a time for that, blah, blah,
yes,
blah, blah, blah.
I do.
Yeah. And one of those was a time to cast away stones.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that was a question that we could have. Like, why would you be casting away stones?
Right.
Well, apparently in the ancient world, they commonly scattered stones on an enemy's land to hinder farming.
Oh.
So there's a time to gather stones, meaning to clear your field and prepare it for farming.
Yeah.
And there's also a time to fuck up your neighbor by throwing rocks at his yard.
At the house that we had like 4 houses ago, I think someone really hated whoever lived there previously to us because there were so many fucking stones cast in that yard. Mm-hmm. I'm like, damn.
It was some concrete, too.
Like, I felt like I was mowing rocks.
It wasn't just rocks. It was rocks and pebbles and stones and boulders and concrete.
It was bad.
It was... You couldn't even... There were parts of it that you couldn't even mow.
Right.
It was just like, there's my rock garden.
Yeah.
So moving into chapter 4, remember that saying about the plaited cord and how, like, when you have 3 is stronger than just 1, like you can break just 1. Yeah. So that is an ancient proverb that was found in the Epic of Gilgamesh.
You meant braided cord. You said plaited cord.
Yeah, plaited. Plait, like a braid.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Got it. A braid.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, no, I knew what I meant.
I apologize. Yeah. I'm just dumb.
I wouldn't go that far. But anyway, I thought that was interesting that there's a similar proverb in the story of Gilgamesh.
Got it, yeah. So, well, there's a lot of things that are pulled from the story of Gilgamesh, from what I understand.
Either that, or more likely, Gilgamesh and the Bible pulled from a common source.
Sure, right.
Yeah,
but it would be interesting to go over maybe the similarities between some of these older stories that are also in the Bible.
Like the flood story and
like where those origins came from and things, because there's a lot of those things out there.
Yeah. Well, they pulled from the same Mesopotamian sources.
Sure.
That's how come their stories are so similar.
Right.
Because they are the same fucking story. So this chapter was a reiteration of the point that the true and important things at one moment will only be forgotten and swallowed up in a repetition of time.
I see.
Yeah, and nothing else matters. I wonder if that's where Metallica took its source material.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to chapter 5. You see, I'm kind of speeding up here because there was just less and less interestingness. So chapter 5 is about the poor under oppressive bureaucracy and the problems and inadequacies of wealth. Right?
Yeah.
So as God gives joy to people as the antidote to their oppressions, people should not think too much ahead, but enjoy the present. That capacity for enjoyment of God's other gifts is also a gift of God.
Oh.
So everything, nice, right? Everything, your suffering, gift from God. Your pleasure, gift from God.
I see.
Everything can be just like, that's God.
It's all God.
It's all God.
Yeah.
There's
nothing that's not God.
Praying for your football team to win, God. But they lost. That's God too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of football games, holy shit. Okay, I'm a bit... Look, I don't pay attention like I used to when I was younger, but I am a fan of football and other sports. And we went over to my father-in-law's house the other day.
The other day being
yesterday, to watch the Ohio State game. And, oh my God, it came down to literally the last second.
Yeah, that was a good game. They played Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And
Ohio
State won, but they shouldn't have. And
no, I will admit, Notre Dame played a good game. And really, by all rights, they probably could have or should have won. But Ohio State pulled it out. In an away game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, which made it even sadder for Notre Dame.
Right, yeah.
Because it came down to the very last second.
It really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an amazing game, actually.
It was.
If you like football.
Yeah.
Which I can take it or leave it. I'm not a huge fan, but if I'm going to watch it, I'm glad it was a good game.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So those were our Q&As.
Oh, that was it? That's all we got?
That's all we got.
We're in on the Ohio State note then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
O-H-I-O. There you go.
Yeah. All right. So that was our Q&A for this Saturday/Sunday. And we will be back. Well, I got to get our weekly. No. We have a Patreon we're doing.
Jesus.
I believe.
Get your tits.
Still today. And then we're doing our live event here in just a few minutes, actually. So this is all coming crashing down on me here at the moment. In which we'll be reading chapter 6 of Ecclesiastes. So that will be going out on Monday.
Yep.
And I think that's all we got coming up right now.
Did you mention our Patreon?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Patreon's going to be in there somewhere, hopefully.
Yeah.
We think.
Somewhere today we'll be recording it and releasing it.
Yeah.
Might not be till later this evening, but...
Right.
It'll get there.
But we'll get it. So, all right, we'll see you guys later.
Yep.
Bye. Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep. We have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.